Good evening, everybody. Dude79 here. Just doing a quick mic check, listening to that new beat from House Beats. His album Halloween Mix is available now on all music streaming platforms. Make sure you check it out. House Beats. This is his latest album, the Halloween Mix. And this Exorcist track is hot, dude.
Yep, sure is. Welcome, everybody. Can't wait to talk to you soon. We actually have somebody sitting potentially next to us right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder who that would be. Well, I mean, obviously you guys know who it is, but let's go.
I think we know who it is. We'll be live in just a moment, y'all. Welcome to another edition of Banter and Babble. I'm the Dude79, and joining me always, my esteemed colleague and renowned piece of shit, Mr. Fanboytone. Mm-hmm. Hey, Fanboytone, okay, nobody cares. The real reason that we're here tonight, the real reason we're excited to be live, is this hot stuff right here.
I'm excited. The rotorious HIT Rohit Raju is here, or I say Rohit, you know, the heat. But man, I'm excited to talk some Ahsoka, talk some wrestling, and yeah, man, I'm just happy to be here. I love coming on here.
Yeah, we love having you.
Hell yeah.
How you been, man?
I'm good, man. Wrestling, just hustling, doing my thing.
Doing his thing.
How about you guys? How you guys been?
I got this sweet new shirt.
That is a new shirt.
Final Fantasy
Sweet.
OG NES. Just wanted to show you. Some of us are fans.
Yeah, it's like when chicks wear Metallica T-shirts and AC/DC or Megadeth. You ask them, well, you know what your favorite song is, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know,
like,
which one." Nah, just joke.
Paradise City.
Paradise City. Tone's a big fan. He's day one.
I mean, I like him. Final Fantasy VI was trash, but Final Fantasy the original was pretty dope, man.
29 years ago today, the greatest game of all time, Final Fantasy VI, dropped on SNES.
29 to the day?
To the day.
God, you're a fucking.
Now, was that the
6.
one, Final Fantasy VI? Is that Final Fantasy 3 in
on
Japan?
Super Nintendo.
Yeah, there we
No,
go.
3 in North America, 6 in Japan, technically.
All right, there we go.
And about 2 decades ago, they finally kind of stopped doing the bit with that, so we're finally numbered right.
Always a bit.
Always.
Before we keep going, you guys, Tone, I gotta do this. What the fuck am I drinking?
This
is fucking good.
Yeah, right? So, Seven Dungeons, if you're out there already
Cheers.
watching your dancing show or something weird, he has your IPA in his hand right now, And listen, we're not normally big IPA people around here. Drastin made an IPA for
Smells good.
Marsland for his crew. And I want a dude to try one of these as well too, and it's really good.
It is really fucking good.
Very citrusy, mangoey, and then the hops is there, but it doesn't overpower.
It is not like it is a nice, smooth, crisp drink. This is like something you drink in the summer, man. Like you're sitting outside. This is a fucking good ass drink.
Yeah, it's the irony that Drastin doesn't like IPAs. Brews his first IPA and knocks.
And it's fucking amazing.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
It's crazy how that works.
So no, good shit. Good shit. Thank you, Dungeons. Appreciate it. But Tom, what have you been up to, man?
Well, I had quite a crazy weekend last week.
What'd you do, Tone?
We did a beer quest, not the full flagship, because until the four of us can always get together, it's not a full-fledged beer quest. But we did get a chance to do a beer quest with Drastin, me, and Josh of Half-Ass. So we had a big weekend last weekend. We'll show some stuff here shortly, but that was crazy all weekend. That was 3 or 4 days worth of just drinking, eating, shitting, farting, driving, riding. Like it was pretty much that. So many bits. So there was times I'm pretty sure that Drastin's, if he has a soul, left his body a couple times.
Oh wow!
Because
Tone has to shit every hour. I believe it.
I just keep regular is all. It's fine. I chew laxatives for fun. It's like a competition. How long can I hold it?
That's pretty horrific.
Yeah, so not a whole lot other than that. That's literally it. I mean, I did some Halloween shopping recently just so I can finally deck out my house a little bit with a little bit of fall and Halloween-esque things, So excited about
you see all her stuff outside, and the wifey was out there, and
your wife always does amazing work.
She goes all out.
She
man.
doesn't fuck around.
You know, me, if I could, I would just be a little cactus by a mountain.
Know. Yeah, exactly.
And that's the extent of my creativity.
But
no, she went all out, man. It looks really, really good. We did Kings Island Halloween as well. I heard you guys went to Kings Island. It sounds like you guys had a great week, and we're gonna have some photos that will run here in a little bit, just so you guys can see how good you guys ate. What have I been doing? I did Mario Kart last week.
Yeah, we got some Mario Kart.
Got some Mario Kart action in with Tone and some of the other folks here.
Nice.
That was fun. That was a good time. I was bounced. Now I'm fully back, COVID free. That was exciting too. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. That's why we haven't been around here for a couple weeks.
Yep. Now we sterilized everything. Everything's been bleached. It smells really good. I bleached my butthole just for Tone. I mean, thoroughly cleansed.
Looks like that first time you take the top off of like a cream cheese spread, like some Philly cream cheese. The whipped.
Man, you just really had to take it to a real place, didn't you? That's just
the vegetable is my favorite actually.
That's fucking disgusting.
Smells like sour cream or something like that.
Got the water sitting on top. We gotta mix it.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna go back to a Tone. Let's talk about this stuff. Let's talk about good stuff.
Yes.
Let's talk about good stuff, Tone.
So that was our stop at Bourbon's Kitchen. They're known for their chicken waffles, apparently, but we got some chicken wings there. As you see, that was really great. That was one of our 450. That's our album cover from the Beer Quest. We always do an album cover. That's in line at 450, waiting to get in the maze, the corn maze.
Very Nickelback.
That looks amazing.
Very Nickelback.
That is thick shaved ribeye and pulled pork on a sandwich. That's it looks smaller than it really was. It's actually probably big. That's all the sushi that in the tuna tartare there from, and of course crab rangoon up there at the Tokyo Grill. We always eat on the way out. That is Josh's burger from Bourbon's Kitchen. It's bacon, pepper jack cheese. They're mac and cheese.
That's house mac and cheese under there.
Mac and cheese on that, and then those are some of the best wings I've had. That is the Sweet Thai pineapple wings at Third Eye Brewing Company. Those were unbelievable. And then I got shrimp tacos at Bourbon's, even though I was supposed to get the chicken waffles.
Those pickled onions?
Those are pickled onions. Those are sweet potato waffle cut fries as well. And then the chicken and waffles. The interesting thing they do here, they use hot honey.
Ooh.
And the chicken actually has buffalo sauce on it.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, man,
and
dude, those
really
wings
good.
right there, like I can already taste the crunch.
We've all decided those are some of the best wings we've had.
What flavor were those?
Those were just like a barbecue dry rub.
And then there's Nickelback again. I fucking love it, dude.
Poor toilet.
Yeah, we had. I mean, there was a lot more photos. If you follow us on social media, if you can real quick, do the !HABR.
Oh, I can do that.
We've got a couple videos that dropped this week on Josh's channel for our adventures. We've had 2 drops so far. The big 450 North one, hopefully, will be dropping by the end of the week. I know you really want to prioritize that one. That's gonna be probably 2 to 3 parts because it was so massive. That corn maze we went to was 100 breweries, It was like 5-6 hours long. All over the country. We sat on the way there. The bus ride. There's even a bit about the bus ride getting there. That's a whole other topic. But there was a guy sitting in front of us that was from Mississippi. People come all over the country. There was a ton of Florida breweries. Florida came correct for this event in the Midwest. It was wild.
That's cool.
They brought a ton of breweries. It was great. Like we had a great time out there. It was windy. It got hot. We shit and ate. So it was a blast. But good stuff. It's always good to do those. We want to get you down there sometime, dude, because we want to.
Yeah, man. You gotta do this shit outside of sports season. It's hard when I got kids playing soccer and football on the weekends, man.
We're gonna have to at least get you down to Third Eye.
I need to get to HQ. Okay.
I need to get to HQ, and we need to hang out in the Sharonville, Dayton, Cincinnati area and just spend 2 days going to all the breweries, eating. I mean, like literally when you go down to like the Franklin area, it's kind of between Cincinnati and Dayton, or kind of in that row. It's just from Dayton to Cincinnati. When you look it on the map on I-75, it's like you just see strips on both sides of commerce. There's just so much to do.
Yeah,
it's nonstop.
You said this is Dayton?
This is Franklin, Sharonville is where Third Eye is.
Okay.
But between Dayton and Cincinnati, all the way down, there's just so much to do. It's unbelievable. So it's a blast going down there. It's one of my favorite places to go, which is a visit Drastin, because there's just so much to do. He's literally 15, 25 minutes at the most from all kinds of things.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's wild.
Now, when you went to Third, sorry, what were you
I was gonna say I heard things got a little heated though between you and Seven Dungeons there when you guys were arguing about the Kyber crystals in the drawer that you had.
Wait, what is this? What happened here?
It's an inside joke. They were not arguing, but they were going back and forth about this. We'll talk about it when we start discussing Ahsoka, but I had to bring that up. That was
fucking dumb. we'll get.
I can't wait to hear that one.
Yeah,
so he says freaking crystals. Oh my god, I love
it.
it.
A whole bit that we after Ahsoka, one of the episodes of Ahsoka, there was something that happened.
Yeah.
And Drastin
It's
hyper
so
focused on
funny.
it, and I was like, of all the things to hyper focus on, that's so irrelevant.
I was dying at
And
home.
we were just going back and forth this for a
Yeah.
while. So
and then it just kept getting brought up.
Yep, just kept going on and on.
It was so funny.
We'll reveal that here shortly. Cherry to Columbus is still an hour and a half drive away from where we're at, and the itinerary for the things that we had to do, just unfortunately, after a 4.5 hour drive, it's tough to be able to figure that out. So hopefully someday we can, because I do want to check out Columbus as well too, really bad. I know there's some great stuff in the area.
It's the home of the Buckeyes, isn't it?
The Arnold Classic too.
Oh, yeah.
Seven Dungeons Drastin literally, when we come down, makes an itinerary.
Oh my gosh.
Hour by hour. And doesn't figure in poop times or drive times. That's on him.
That's a fucking
That's
mistake.
on
You
him.
know him well enough to know.
That's on him. So
especially if you're eating and drinking, that has
oh my
to be
god,
a
you got
must.
to double it. You almost have to double it.
Yeah.
Half-ass said today, I think, was the first day he had a solid shit in like a week. So I mean, come on. So
We're not getting any younger, guys.
What is a solid shit? That's like a myth. That's like land.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. Waterworld's the greatest.
I
movie
have
ever
them
made.
from time to time. So
Man, every time I see Cuddle say "fuck them kids," every week of this season, I believe that more and more.
Mm.
I got 2 weeks left of football, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
And that's it. I
Then
am
you can
done
find your
until April when baseball starts again. I ain't doing shit. I'm gonna be a piece of shit beginning October 22nd until April.
Dan Gartner's out there said, "God bless Matt Cardona."
God bless Matt Cardona.
That's right.
Matt Cardona is the man.
Yes, he is.
awesome, and he's doing big things right now. And
he has done.
Yeah, he's the man. You gotta love that guy.
It's not.
I'm still into hand puppets, Danner. By the way, still into him.
It's not too late to go grab some milk and a pack of smokes. Just walk out on the old family. I don't know, man.
That's great.
I don't know about
Just
that one.
Eat ice cream.
Oh, fuck.
Right,
I didn't play my numbers. You're going to have to talk. Sorry.
Oh,
I did not play my Powerball numbers.
You better hurry up.
I know, hurry up.
So I walked into the liquor store to come here, meet up with Rohit and get over here. And my guys at my liquor store now, they've already gotten to know me. Shock, right? Anytime there's a liquor store near me in my home, they get to know me really fast. I'm lucky that I've made friends with like 3 or 4 here in the area. I appreciate a lot of them and try to give them all my business.
Where do you go?
Right now I'm going to McCarty.
Okay.
Party store.
Okay.
Just because I'm right there.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the guys in there are so nice. Have always been really nice to me. They know me now. So he was like, "Hey, you getting your Powerball numbers?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, give me 5 of them. Let's do $10 worth." They're like, it's not too late, So like, I got the winning ticket.
Jeez.
So when I win tomorrow,
Tonight at 11, when this show wraps, the numbers are drawn.
I hope one of you guys wins. I hope someone I know wins just to,
It'll be
welcome
me.
Mason
Can
Show.
break
What's
off
up?
that
What's
nonsense.
up? Live from the
Mason
nasty.
Show.
You know it, guys.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I got my Powerballs. I'm all set. Nothing better than a handful of balls in your hands. That's my philosophy, anyways, as well too. Do you gamble? Do you get into the? I don't get in the lottery thing normally.
No,
I, really don't.
I honestly, I probably should.
I find it a waste of time.
If I'm at a bar, I might do scratch offs or something
That's
like that,
fair,
or pull
yeah.
tabs. But I don't really gamble as much. I don't mind going to the casino, but I don't do anything big. Half the time I
Makes that
lose. Almost 80% of the time I lose. So I don't want to lose my money.
Yeah, I can't. I have a hard time with it as well too. Like I've never been big into it. Even like when I turned, is it 18 or 21? You can go to like the
18.
casino. Yeah, see, it's
18
not
is
so
the
much. I don't
casino.
care. Like my parents like, oh, I gotta get you to the casino. I'm like, all right. So I spent $20 and they called it good. I'm like, well, I did it. Yay.
Who's the
You know?
Mason Show?
Yeah, Mason Show. I think that might be Tricky's. Is that Tricky's Mason?
Oh, I thought
Maybe,
it was a
maybe
different
not.
Mason. Never
It
mind.
might be. I don't know. I only know one Mason around here, but we're glad to have a Mason around here.
I wonder if it was my
Masons. Might be.
my buddy from
Might be.
Schrader. Is that you? Oh my God,
There you
dude! I've
go.
known that guy since I was like 3 years old.
That's
my
wild.
dude, man. We used to live on Congress together, man.
Holy shit.
Hell yeah! I've known him forever.
Cool. Welcome.
That is my dude. I saw
Appreciate
Yama the
ya.
other day at Kroger. Gave her a big hug. I was so happy to see her. Man, hell yeah, that's my
Cool.
dude. You're in St. Louis now, right, bro? He used to. Was it 102.5? He was up here. He did it. It was. I think it was 102.5. He was an intern. Oh, you're in Central Illinois. Okay, cool. And then he just kind of blew up, and he's been doing radio for like.
Oh,
ever.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Yup.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah! Thanks for tuning in, man. Mason's good people,
Yeah,
dude.
if you ever
Great
wanna-
people.
If you ever want to be a guest here on
Yeah.
this really, really hot Twitch show, come on down. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm a Z93 guy. I listen to Z93 pretty consistently these days. Whether or not you keep tabs on them anymore, Mason. I'm a big fan of Matt and Adam. The morning after, Matt come back and has done a great job.
You knew who'd you know from the radio?
Who'd I know?
No, it wasn't you. It was Mason
No.
that knew him. Never mind.
Might have been, yeah.
Hell yeah.
You talked to him the other day. Awesome, yeah. He's Bingham has done wonders for that station. I think he's helped pull music back around here. He's helped do events. He's such a great guy. Anytime I see him, he knows who I am. He knows, I got him friends on Facebook. He's just, I always get a chance to say hi to him, stuff like that.
It's weird. The first thing he always says when he sees you is security.
Yeah, right.
Security.
Right.
It's weird.
Can I have another autograph? He's good people. Maybe I'm my dad now, but I think our morning after right now, or our morning show around here is really strong. But they do a lot of great things. They put in a lot of musical
They're
events.
awesome, man.
He's done a lot of things. He's really evolved to present day standards, I think, in radio, and it's awesome to see that. So
For a long time, I didn't do too many morning shows, but I do listen to them. Like in the morning, I do them, and then in the afternoon, I go to 97.1, listen to Valenti,
Right on.
Sports Talk. Those are my two. Like I normally never ever listen to any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But Matt and Adam are really good. in the
and
morning.
they've got Breck now with them. She's a caricature as well too. It's
Yeah.
fucking hilarious that she's such a character there. They're all having a good time living the best life, and I'm here for it because we needed something like that around here. So.
He's we were when we were kids. It was always G.I. Joe, Transformers, Star Wars. So like
The trifecta.
yeah, I have to. We'll have to figure out. I want to see what you thought of Ahsoka, and where you are with the whole Star Wars thing.
Yeah, and
so.
he also wants his Sergeant Slaughter G.I. Joe back. He's still upset about that.
Yeah, we used to throw him up in the air, and we were just like, because we were stupid kids. Oh man, see how he landed? And half the time we would lose him, and he had like this patch in his backyard that was. I don't know why it was a bunch of just long weeds that no one ever cut, and so we'd lose so many action figures back there because we'd just throw them up in the air. That's so ridiculous.
Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. We never did get that Macho Man off the roof.
Macho Man was stuck on the roof. Oh man, poor
my!
Macho Man.
And we tried too, and it never happened. He got stuck.
He's still up
That
there.
is
up there.
hilarious. That's great. Yeah, I'm still up here waiting for someone to come get me. Yeah. Down now.
Tell him the cream rises to the top.
Green rises to the top. Yeah. Nothing but a cup of coffee. Yeah.
Now, before we get into our
Coffee
first
in the
topic, man,
time.
where can we see you? Where are you going? Where you been recently? What's going on?
Well, I was just on the 1000th episode of Impact Wrestling. It was so great to be back there.
Awesome.
Myself and Raj Champagne, Poppy himself, Raj Singh. We ended up wrestling the Dudley Boys, Team 3D,
Fucking
which
gnarly,
was
too.
an absolute honor because Devon hadn't wrestled in like 7 years. So it was his first show back. So being in the ring with them was just such an honor. So I've got to wrestle both Steiner brothers and now these guys. And I don't know if you guys remember, Rougeau brothers is kind of a deep cut. He used to be, he was Jacques Rougeau. He used to be the Mountie. But,
Yeah.
I did a match with him.
God, he's old
Not
now.
with him, but he was a manager with these guys. We just
Oh,
wrestled in
shit.
Windsor. But it was for BCW, which Scott Demore owns that, the guy that is like the VP at Impact. I did something with Ring of Honor recently with my good friend Ethan Page. The clips, one of the clips
All
is on
ego.
my Instagram, which is Raju Zane 80. And then, of course, my Twitter, I have to remember now, my Twitter is the Rohit Raju because I changed that, or my X, whatever you want to say.
We got it for you right here, y'all. If you don't
Cool.
get a chance, make sure to follow Rohit as well too.
Yeah, give me a follow. I have a Patreon as well, and
Oh.
then I do have a Pro Wrestling Tees, which I have to update. But I do have. If you end up going on my Instagram and you go on there, I have some shirts in stock. And thanks to Draston and Crash, I got to figure out which one I'll do. I'll probably do both. I have a Wu-Tang inspired Rohit Raju t-shirt that's going to be coming out too. But I'll be in St. Louis on Sunday for Glory Pro. That is one of my mainstays. I'm actually going to be local. I will be in November 4th in Taylor. I will be at Clash Wrestling. And then I will be in.
Go back to Clash.
Yeah, yep. There's a match I've been wanting to do with this cat named June Tai, who's really good, and we finally got a chance because normally there was just too many schedule conflicts. And then I will actually be in Lansing for I hate the fact I'm wrestling Keith Cream, a guy that I wrestled.
That's a fucking hot name.
Keith Cream, he's really good. But when I was getting in the business, he was like one of the top guys, and we just had really good matches with each other.
Awesome.
But Great Lakes, man, Zach's gonna kill me too because I can't remember the damn name of it. But it's, I apologize, Zach. It's Great Lakes something wrestling, and I can't remember. But maybe it is Great Lakes Championship Wrestling. That's what it might be. But it's out there in Lansing. Small
Cool.
little venue, but the energy is really good. But other than that, I'm hoping to get back with Impact Wrestling soon. We'll see. It's up in the air, but I've had conversations with them. That's where I want to go. That's where I want to be. So hopefully next year you'll see me back there. Fingers crossed. And other than that, that's what I've been doing, and that's where you can see me.
Awesome.
Oh yeah.
And you watch if you get a chance. Follow, like I said, follow him on Twitter, follow on Instagram. He does, it's a lot more because you can do the videos and stuff like that as well too. It's cool.
Oh, and my YouTube, I never used my YouTube. I've had it for years.
Yeah.
I actually started posting shorts, so clips of my matches, and I want to figure out something else to do. I was doing like reviews on things that I like, but I'd rather save that for when I'm with you guys.
Sure.
So maybe I'll start doing if I'm not here, I'll do reviews on movies and stuff.
You
But
should.
yeah, I just
do them
gotta get.
shorts. If you, they're like, I think the shorts a minute.
Yeah, it's like usually a minute, so I think I'm gonna start doing more of those. I've been posting clips, but if you look up Rohit Raju on YouTube, you can find my channel, promos, clips, weightlifting things. So I need more content. If there's anything you want to see me do, obviously just hit me up and be like, hey, you should try doing this or
Like
that.
hitting dude with a chair.
That was King Cuddles. King Cuddles.
I don't want to get
yeah.
hit with a chair though.
That's fine.
You don't. You don't.
I
wanna
really
get-
don't.
Oh, and I did go through a table by the Dudleys. Bubba power bombed me off the
That's pretty gnarly.
second, and it was my lower. And this is real. My lower back still hurts. Like when you go through the table, it's
It's
kind of
still a
like
table, right?
it is. So you're just kind of like, oh man, yeah, Lord of the Rings segment. I love my Lord of the Rings, the Mocha Lord of the Rings segment. But I went through the table and I was just like, oh, but then afterwards I was like,
Miz.
I was flying home and I was like, man, my lower back is killing me. And it's ever since then, my lower back's it's always bad, but it's like even worse. So,
Jesus.
Where does
It is
that
what it
rank
is.
in like injuries? Like for you, like where you felt it after the fact? Like what is something that's like been
the worst is broken nose. Guy punched me in the nose. Concussions, grappling. When I used to do jiu-jitsu, I sprawled and my toenail hit the mat. And
God.
shit?
Yeah, it ripped my big toenail off. At the gym, I dropped a 10-pound weight on my toe, and I thought I broke my toe because I was taking off a plate, and I forgot I had the 10 pounds on there. Of course, it's the gym, so you got to be cool.
Oh, yeah,
so I
just
was just
shake
like,
it off.
and I could see the blood coming through my shoe, but I still finished my workout. And then when I went home, I took my shoe off. I was like, I know I broke my toe, and I was like, I swear. But I had the blood was underneath, and this also popped the same toenail off because the blood was underneath. Grappling again, I went to go like this, and I broke my metacarpal, I think this is.
Yep.
And then wrestling, my second match, a guy hit me with a chair, so I put my hand up, broke this metacarpal, and got a concussion, and wrestled the match later on that night.
Henceforth, why I don't want to be hit by a chair.
Yeah, no, getting hit by a chair sucks. It's like you get hit with a chair, even if you put your hands up. And then in the back is really shitty. I have cuts from I did a cage match where I didn't go through the tacks, but when I landed, I took a spot off the top rope through a table, and when I rolled, the tack scraped my thigh, so so it went in, and when I rolled, it dug. Yeah, and then I pulled it out, and then I was bleeding. I did when I did yarding though, I did a thumbtack match, and that was
I was gonna say, is that
pretty
KBW?
weird. Yeah, KBW.
Yeah.
Concussions were probably the worst. I had a really bad concussion that I didn't even remember the match, but I finished it, and then I did another one recently when I was in Chicago. The guy went to powerbomb me onto my partner, but I missed. So if you're powerbombing someone, usually you let go, but he didn't let go because he thought I was going to hit my partner. Well, I slipped right off him, so my legs were still up here, and so my head just drove into the mat, and I had no idea what I was doing. I finished the match, but you just kind of go on autopilot. So I'm pretty sure when I'm older, I'll have CTE or probably. I'm scared to get an X-ray on my body because I know it's probably pretty jacked up.
Every year, do you feel a little bit more though? I mean, is it pretty consistent? Or
I this summer I didn't wrestle as much just because I like to enjoy the summer.
Yeah.
But I do feel it, knees, elbows, but also from lifting weights, years of basketball, years of lifting heavy when I was really, really light.
Yep.
So it all takes its toll. But wrestling does. People are like, oh, well, it's fake. It's all predetermined, but I guarantee you almost all of it hurts. Taking a bump on a ring is all it is 2x12 steel frames, 2x12 boards, and a gym mat. You gotta know how to fall. And so imagine taking something off the top rope, chair shots, clotheslines, chops, elbows, punches. Sometimes the guy punches you for real, kicks you for real, and sometimes it really hurts. Sometimes you just kind of laugh about it.
It's combat performance art.
It is, but it's fun. I love it. It is sore. My body is beat up a lot of times, but I figured I just keep going, and I figured once I stop, I'll just turn to dust. But until then, we're gonna rock it till the wheels fall off.
Be like the old guy in Hellboy 2. What's his name?
Yeah.
Cuddles says, I once sprained my thumb playing Gears of War, so we're kind of the same. I mean, you can relate. Yeah. There's
jammed.
Look at that. Fool of a tone. Instead of fool of a tone, that's
nice.
tremendous.
There you go.
I love it.
That's great. We appreciate all the follows tonight, all the subs, all the sharing
Thanks,
subs.
Grey
Thank you,
Monster.
everybody. We appreciate you, and whatnot as well too. So we're gonna probably get into our next topic. You want to set up the thing we didn't set up yet?
Oh shit! Yeah, that's right.
So we'll start talking. So
Corner of the
one of the things is we typically
Those are
don't when we have you on. We've got this back here because I think this will be a little bit more of the main conversation with the AEW there. But, and plus you've actually gotten a chance to do some AEW work. But, we really don't talk a lot about wrestling when you're on.
Right.
And I really wanted to get some of your thoughts now, as I'm calling it, the state of wrestling, because I feel like we're in our 4th year now, recently just celebrated, of AEW being, on TV, and still evolving, still doing different things as well too. We've seen a lot of things happen with WWE over the year. We've seen a lot of movement in the industry, not just the two bigs either. And we're talking all of them. There's movement going on, where people are going here, going there, whatever it might be. But, in the last year and a half, especially, I just feel like I'm not saying it's Monday Night War caliber, because it's far from that quite yet. But what it is it's getting to the point where, especially when you see Wembley and things that AEW did, it's getting to the point where they're all starting to they're starting to catch up in some ways. They're never going to catch WWE anytime soon, I don't believe. But for 4 years, what AEW has done has been a pretty big deal in my thoughts.
Yeah.
But the point overall is just that it's an interesting time right now in wrestling, and I feel like it's almost like a golden era of this reemergence of popularity. You look at how New Japan has now even got its hooks in American folk now.
Yeah.
The indies are getting super super big and popular. You know, even like the AA Pros, Glory Pro. You know, I mean, these days I feel like people where in the past would just stick with like main brands and main television. I almost feel like it's kind of like going the opposite direction now. Like that might be their entry, but now people are really starting to dig into like more the indie stuff and watching what people are doing on a smaller scale as well too. So like I said, overall, I just want to jump into some of those thoughts. I want to pause real quick. I know you want to get this going, so I'll let Dude take over just for a minute.
We are doing a giveaway tonight. We'll be giving away a RohitRaju t-shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees to one lucky winner. We're starting the giveaway right now. The winner will be drawn in about an hour, so we'll probably be balls deep in the Ahsoka discussion.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to give everyone a chance to get in here, enter in to win. The giveaway begins now. ! Enter for a chance to win, and you have to be... Cuddles, that is not the entry code.
Balls deep. !
Enter to enter in, and it'll announce the winner here in about an hour. And then we'll get your details, your information afterwards to make sure you get your Rohit Raju shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees.
Pro Wrestling
Yes, perfect.
Tees.
So that's kind of where I want to start. Like, you know, just generally with that, all that I said, like, what are your initial thoughts on, like, just generally wrestling right now?
I love that it is. See, I'm weird, okay, because I am very critical. I'm horrible sometimes. I'm my own worst critic, so I critique other wrestling. I agree that it's a golden age of wrestling as far as the popularity coming back, but I don't think the wrestling, and this is me being the old man screaming, "Get off my lawn." I don't think the pro wrestling is as good as it was, because I think it can get there, but I do love what AEW has done. I think if AEW can tighten a few things up, it'll be a contender at WWE. As of late, WWE has been firing on all cylinders, and that's because you have certain people in charge, and Roman has really revamped himself, and it's been interesting. The whole bloodline thing was great. Finally, you have, I almost called him Eli Drake, but LA Knight is, you know, but here's my thing. This is what if you look at a guy like LA Knight, like say MJF, Edge, Christian, or Adam Copeland now, this is the difference as far as I think that's where the direction pro wrestling needs to go. It needs the athleticism of someone like a Kenny Omega and like a Jay White, but then it needs the showmanship of someone like a Roman Reigns and a MJF. You got to be able to cut those promos. Yeah. You got to be able to have those moments, plus have those good matches in the ring. And I think once people figure that out, wrestling will be not only the golden era of popularity, but it will be the golden era of in-ring ability as well. I think I love the fact that people are looking at indies, but this will be something we go to when we go into fandom. There's a lot of weird stuff. Like the internet can make or break somebody. There's a lot of good people out there that don't get the time of day because they aren't popular or their GIF didn't blow up, or because some people just jump on a bandwagon and they may not be that good. I mean, good for them for making their money and eating, but they may not be that good. And then someone that is really good, I've seen it before, like when Ethan Page, they're in Hamilton, right? I've known Ethan Page he's a good friend of mine, but I've known him for a long time. When he got the shot to cut a promo against MJF because they were in Hamilton or they were in Canada somewhere, so they gave him, you know, kind of like some love. He got a shot. He cut this great promo. So I read the comments. People are like, who's this loser, this jobber? What has he ever done? It's like, you guys, that's the thing. The same, we'll use LA Knight, for example, in Impact Wrestling. LA Knight has been this guy forever. Okay, when I was in Impact Wrestling, when I first there, him and I used to have conversations about this very stuff right here. Promos, wrestling, creating moments, and not just doing spot. LA Knight has always been this guy. When he was Eli Drake, he was, yeah, dummy, yeah, let me talk to you. He was doing all of that. He's always been that guy. But because he was with Impact Wrestling, fans would always say, oh, he's stupid, he's a jobber, he's this, he's that. Now that he's at WWE, and all of a sudden these same people were saying, oh, he's dumb, he's this. but the bandwagon starts jumping on, it's a totally different thing. So whereas I'm really happy that people are looking at indie wrestling, but there's also that other side of the coin where people were like, these guys are losers. They're not on this program, yada,
Right.
yada, yada. Jake Something's a perfect example. The guy is a main event talent, right? When he left Impact Wrestling, AEW, they just used him for dark, but they used him just for jobber stuff. Then he said, I'm not doing this anymore. And then Impact picked him back up, and now he's getting a main event push at Impact because if you ever look at him, if Jake, what they call, he passes the it factor. He passes the airport test. I can walk through an airport, or you can just look at me and be like, yeah, that guy doesn't look like a professional wrestler. But when you hear me talk and you actually see me in the ring, you're like, oh, I get it. You look at Jake, he could be wearing a snowsuit, and you could be like, that guy looks like
He does something.
He's
Yeah.
and no pun intended, but like they're like he is something. He's either a fighter, a football player,
Yep.
because he's larger than life, right? And he just has that. Men, women, children, they gravitate towards him. I don't care who you are. Anytime you're in a room with him, he just has that where people want to talk to him. They want to be his friend. They want to bang him. They want his autograph, whatever. That's and I'm not even trying to be funny, but that's just how it is.
Yeah.
He has that magnetism. Some people have that, and some people
Exact
don't. But
funds.
then it's like, but that's the thing. Jake's always been that good, or at least should have been. So where one promotion's like, no, we don't want to do anything with him, it takes another promotion to honestly like see what they have in him and push him. I'll toot my own horn. When I first went to Impact, I was just doing jobs left and right. DC Hit Squad, we weren't doing crap. We were horrible. And I wouldn't even use the name Rohit Raju on the indies because I would use Hakeem Zayn because Rohit Raju was nothing. He was a jobber to people.
Right.
So I had to do something different. When they gave me that X Division run, they gave me the ball and I ran with it.
And the
And those
mic.
And
same
crushed it.
and the mic, but those same naysayers became fans because they could actually see what I was doing.
Right.
It's weird. Like I love the fact that people are tuning into lower promotions. And it's funny when people are like when they try to crap on New Japan, it's like, do you guys realize these are some of the best wrestlers in the world? Okada,
People crap
even
on New Japan. That's so weird. to
You
me.
may not have heard of Okada, but just because you haven't doesn't mean he's a megastar in Japan. You know what I mean? So it's that weird mentality. I do love where wrestling's going. The fact that they had that little Tuesday Night War yesterday, like there was millions of people that watched wrestling, whether they were watching AEW, whether they were watching NXT, or they were watching both. Flicking back and forth, millions of people watch wrestling. That's good for everybody.
Yeah.
And that, I guess, where I like that, I mean, and that can also segue later on when we start talking about fandoms, but I love that. I do think it has a long way to go. Attitude Era to me in 80s wrestling was really peak. I do hope it gets back to that. Yeah, Twan's, yeah, Jake was looking, he is a bear. But I call him the vanilla gorilla because his arms are like down to his knees.
It's funny. So
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
at a concert last year at the Dow, and he was there because we like a lot of the same music. And every time I see him, it is literally a bear hug, right? And I had a friend going like, "What's up with your friend without the sleeves on his shirt?" I'm like, he can't fit. In
Yeah,
the
they don't
he
make
can't.
shirts to
Sleeves.
fit them, right?
He has to remove them. I mean, she was being funny, but I'm just like, no, literally, it's a thing. Like,
Well, just
his-
look at him.
His
He's
arms are
huge.
fucking massive.
Yeah.
So, no, and that's exactly it. And I really love because that's a good way of talking about that as well too.
Told you, man.
Just Call Me Out here made a comment about that as well too. If you're an actual wrestler and calling work talent a jobber, you're a mark.
Yeah, no,
I
you
mean,
were absolutely
that's
correct.
true,
But you know how people
right?
are,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Internet's horrible.
And fandom is fandom. So
Yeah.
to try it, okay. So just kind of going off that, we talk a little bit about, even last night. We may come back around to it as well too. But as far as specifically, I do want to talk about and there's a reason why I want to bring this up, being brand specific. Just generally, what are your thoughts about seeing Adam Copeland end up at AEW?
I think it's excellent. And you got to think, this guy, he did everything at WWE. And he obviously loves wrestling. I do have to say something. There are a lot of hipsters that do go to wrestling. And whether they're fans or not, sometimes they dig it. And sometimes they're like, oh, this is kind of cool. But there are a lot of hipsters that do go. And I usually make fun of them if I see them in the crowd. Which is, I love it. But anyways, back to Adam Copeland. I think it's excellent. And it also gives AEW that big feel like, oh man, CM Punk went there, Bryan Danielson went there, or Daniel Bryan. but it gives it like, hey, this is competition. And guess what? When you have competition, you either step your game up or you fail. So when they're going tit for tat like that, it forces both sides to be competitive, and that's when we, the fans, or myself, opens more work up for me. But it also offers for you, the fans, that and myself, because I'm still a fan, but it gives us the best wrestling that we get to see, because people are going out there not wanting to lose.
Right.
And I do know where we're going with the the brand loyalty, but like, this guy loves wrestling. He's wrestled everybody at what's it called, WWE, and so just let him do his thing. He wants to wrestle new people. He wants to finish stuff out with Christian, his best friend. It's his choice. It's his health. The guy had a broken neck and he came back from it. Leave him alone, But that's anything like when LeBron left and people were burning his jerseys, and then when he came back, they were singing his praises.
Right.
It's just that, we get too wrapped up in something that we're passionate about. And like, I had to do that. I had to step away from it sometimes. I still do it. Like when we talk Star Wars,
it's tough.
But I do. Unfortunately, in the word of the century is toxic. So that comes across toxic when people are going against that.
Yep. And so I definitely am going to come back to that point. But we're going to take a little brief off side of that too, because in the vein of that, because I agree too. And like, listen, Edge is one of the few WWE wrestlers I actually got to meet. I like to make sure I say it out loud. In 1997, met him at the Breslin Center in Lansing. That was pretty gnarly. He was a good guy, good dude. I've loved Edge since the Brood. I know that's really campy as fuck to like the Brood. I'm just come on. How cool was that?
Awesome.
That was awesome. You know what I mean? And I've just always been kind of and Rated R Superstar in the mid 2000s when he was doing the whole thing with Lita, and that was wild shit for TV. And that was right before they went public too. So that was like the end of like that crazy era. To have that as well. Get under your booty hole. There you go. Yeah, see.
What are you?
Oh man.
No, that side. I don't know what that is.
It's chocolate syrup. Don't worry about it. Don't blacklight it though either.
I didn't shit on it.
Yeah.
So without like ruining the camera.
No, that's fine. Right. No, we don't have any.
We have no standards
here. Yeah, don't worry about it. This is real deal. You're sitting in the couch.
Hey, you're taller.
That feels.
Yeah. I know, right, Josh? I know. Holy
so
shit!
much better.
Oh, you grew up. Look at the little guy here.
He's the old guy.
So WWE has recently signed Jade Cargill, who I was actually a big fan of, and the fans shit on her too because she was new. Listen, she's got great look.
Look at her.
She was working hard. She'd never wrestled until she got involved in AEW, and she was really I think she had a try at WWE, and they said they passed on her or something like that as well too.
Yeah.
But she was trying. She really wanted to be good at it. She was putting in the work, and she got better all the time. And the fandom just kept shitting on her. I'm like, God, like, why are we like shitting on these? She's on TV. You're not. You know what I mean? So that being said, so she's with WWE. Brian Pillman Jr., another person who. First of all, I'm not a fan of his name, and I don't want to get into that, but
his new name?
Yeah, I know, I understand it, but like, man, like just being Brian Pillman Jr. in AEW is always kind of cool because Brian Pillman was such a big name, at least at some point. But, anyways, and of course, last year Cody going to WWE, and I'm a Rhodes family mark there. I'm a mark for Rhodes family. I love Cody Rhodes. I've always been a Dustin and Dusty Rhodes fan. So, that being said, is that do you think?
We're here. Sorry.
No,
we was talking about my sons. I was just listening. So proud of him. My birthday was recently. God rest in peace and make a dream. That's the Rose, baby.
He used to wear Michigan or Michigan State stuff once in a while too.
He was the big dust.
Yeah, he was the big dust,
if you will.
Is this something that you feel is an isolated situation now, or do you think this is going to be continuous now that AEW's turn the corner in their 4 years? Is this something we're going to see more of? Is back
people
and
jumping
forth?
ship?
Yeah,
I think
off AEW specifically, I should say.
I think you will, because you have a ton of people that weren't anything and went to AEW and made a name for themselves. Swerve, for instance, Swerve is blowing up. They had Swerve, you know what I mean? And then I think it was when that big purge came, they got rid of him,
dude. And
now he's like kind of going to make them regret it. But I think in due time, he'll probably go back there and be a bigger star. So it's good. It's good for you. You have to do that. Like, you have to be able to leave and grow. And sometimes you don't. Some people will leave and they won't get anything. It just happens. But I mean, for the wrestlers, it's their livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
It's their personal life. It's their money. So if they're going to get more money, they're going to get more opportunity. Why not? I mean, and guess what? Like, when so-and-so's a big star and then they go to this company and then they wrestle that other big star, it's a dream match.
Right.
and we just win in the end. But some people
Yeah.
are so stubborn that they instantly are like, "This is dumb. I can't believe," you know what I mean? And unfortunately, we just get negative. And I get it. If that's your brand, that's your brand. Fine. I understand that, but I don't think it needs to get to the point to where it's like death threats and like I hate your guts and stuff like
Right.
that.
It's
That's
so,
a little bit. That's
it's
a little
so
bit too
weird,
much.
man. Yeah.
You can be a fan of like or not be a fan of someone like I wish they hadn't went there. I get it. I totally understand that. And then some people do go to other companies and don't get used well. You know, that happens too.
I think-
Or
I mean, let's be fair. As a big AEW fan over here, it's bloated sometimes. You don't see enough. of the right people.
Rusev is a guy that I think is like tremendous, but you hadn't seen him in
They brought
forever.
CJ in now too, randomly. Did you see
Who?
that? His wife.
Oh yeah, but and that's the thing, and it's just like some people. I don't know. I think, but then AEW has so many people that aren't even getting used that are really good. So it's just like, what do you do? And I know they added more shows, but it's like, it's crazy. I think honestly, we need a third. Either Impact needs to get like a boost to where it's like $1 million company, or you need another millionaire to come and start. I heard Freddie Prinze Jr. was going to do something, but
What?
yeah, legit.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Freddie
Yeah, 'cause
Prinze
he
Jr.
used to
used to
write-
write for WWE.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
Yep,
true.
yep,
That's
so
true.
I heard he was going to do
I
something.
forgot about that.
And you have NWA. Billy Corgan runs NWA, but I don't know how
Well, you see what
they
just
pay.
happened with him in the Ohio territory thing he just did, right? He picked up some territory in Ohio, and people are like, "This is starting to remind us of the territories again."
But that's good, and wrestling needs that. But wrestling needs something too where people are paying.
Mhm.
So if that, because you're not going to get a top name
I
going
feel you,
to
Twans.
go into one of these places if they're not getting paid good money. So that's another thing too. But I don't know. I think when people look at Impact, I think people sleep on Impact a lot.
They do.
I
sleep on
think
Impact.
you're right
And
too.
if you look at Ethan Page, right, he came from Impact. He was great there. You look at
Mhm.
Ortiz and Santana, formerly known as LAX, Proud and Powerful. Now they're beefing. They came from Impact. You
Mhm.
look at LA Knight. He came from Impact. You look at there's a few other people. Off the top of my head, EC3 for a minute there. He was really hot. Now he's doing stuff at NWA. He came from Impact. There are people that start at Impact. If Josh Alexander ever decided to leave Impact, he would blow up elsewhere, and he's like one of the best wrestlers out there. So it's like it's just like people sleep on that, and that's such a building block. Jake something right now, he's getting groomed to be a
Penta.
top guy. Sooner or later, maybe he'll stay there, maybe he won't. Maybe he'll go on to bigger things or different things, But the thing is, these guys are always. Impact's always been putting out good stuff. I mean, why do you think Kurt Angle went there? Why do you think Sting went there? Why do you think the Hardys were there? Where do you think the delete Broken Matt Hardy came from? It came from there. There's other guys. Kurt Angle has some of his best matches there. Where do you think AJ Styles came
Styles,
from?
man.
AJ Styles, he came from Impact. So that's what people. It blows my mind when they crap on something like that. And there's good talent in NWA that's going to become something bigger.
Yeah.
So people, and they shouldn't shit on stuff like that. You can have brand loyalty, but don't be so loyal that you close your mind
Absolutely.
to other. Because when I was a kid, I was watching AWA, NWA, World Class Wrestling, WWE, any type of wrestling I could find, I was watching it.
Yeah.
And then when I know who they are. When the Road Warriors went to NWA, I knew who they were because I watched them in AWA. When they went to WWE, I knew who they were because I watched them in NWA. And I was like, oh, these guys are good, this and this, this and this. But it's like, as a kid, I couldn't get enough of it. And we're so lucky with the internet, with
Man.
being able to the indies. You can get you stream indie TV or like Fight TV and get these. There's so many good wrestlers out there. Don't close your mind. You may have a favorite promotion, but don't close your mind and be like, well, I'm not watching this because I hate it. No, then you're just hurting yourself and hurting your love
Right.
for professional wrestling.
Right. And I don't know if it's Fight TV. I don't remember the website or if it's Fight TV where it is. But if you ever want to expand your indie wrestling site, honestly, there's subscriptions you can get that will open you to like AAW streams and Glory Pro streams and stuff like that. Like
Yep.
you can really get out there and really discover some great wrestling that's just more localized. And honestly, everybody knows I'm a big AAW fan.
Exactly,
I don't shy away from it. But one of my favorite things about it is because they're getting New Japan wrestlers are being exposed to everybody over here. And yeah, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, these dummies, or they don't get. But then there's a lot of people out there that are going, holy shit, like I can't believe we're seeing him here. Like like Forbidden Door was one of the best pay-per-views this last year.
Well, Impact. Well, that's another thing too. Josh Alexander and the Motor City Machine Guns just went over to New Japan and wrestled Okada,
It's fucking crazy.
Tanahashi, and what's his name?
Love the Motor City Machine Guns.
Big bald guy. God, I can't remember his name now. Does the headbutts, the pit bull.
Are you thinking Suzuki?
No, not Minoru Suzuki. My gosh, Adita is IWTV.
Shoot, what's his name?
But I can't remember his name, but like
Not Suzuki.
Ishii, yeah,
Ishii.
man, Dito, all right, you're on the ball, thank you. But they just went over there and wrestled them, and then you got Will Ospreay is going to be at the Chicago pay-per-view for Impact, and you got Speedball Bailey who just went over there and wrestled at New Japan.
Yeah,
you have
that as well too.
my boys Ace and Chris Bay just went over there and wrestled.
$10, yep.
So it's cool, man. I mean, there's just like, don't close your mind to wrestling because it's good wrestling's everywhere.
So now you guys have mentioned a couple times that New Japan is huge, like it's big over there. Is there is it as popular over here, or is there a way that they could market it better over here to kind of get more eyes on it?
They're getting there actually right now. I feel like
what's that?
They're getting. I feel like they're getting there. I'm seeing more and more friends of mine that are getting exposed to it, talking about it more and more. And I think AEW has helped some, but I think they're getting to that point. They have a part of their promotion is over here now as well too, right?
Well, they have a school, the LA Dojo School.
That's what it was, LA.
My boy, big shout to Rocky Romero. I love Rocky. Rocky's the best. But they were doing the New Japan Strong for a bit, but it just didn't go over as well. I hope New Japan blows up bigger over here. They were, for a little bit, it was boom, and they kind of trailed off a little bit. But I think, I mean, with the power of the internet, if people just... you gotta the thing New Japan will have a hard time getting is the people that just love the entertainment aspect of it. Now there are entertaining wrestlers in New Japan, but when it comes to the guys that can cut the promos, that they may not, because these guys are speaking straight up Japanese. You know what I mean? Besides like some of the American
you have that
talent.
disconnect.
Yes, so that style of wrestling might not be for everybody. So you know what I mean? So that's the thing, because American style of wrestling, Mexican style, and European style and Japanese style, it's all different.
Right.
So like when I look at like a lot of other different sorts of media, whether it's movies, TV shows, things of that nature, you talk about how like there needs to be some more bigger platforms, like Impact needs to get a little bit bigger, and AEW to get on that same level as AEW. Do you think like if something like New Japan starts getting big over here, is there a concern of like oversaturation where there's just like too much to absorb and people kind of get lost in the mix, even though it's huge on all fronts? Is it still difficult to kind of like break through when you have so many different like platforms?
I think it'd be hard to break through, just like we were talking earlier about like all these Marvel TV shows and Star Wars TV shows.
Right.
Why they're not doing well, it's because it's quality over quantity.
Sure.
If you have quality wrestling, then it won't be oversaturated. But I think if you had say you had like this big boom in wrestling, the good will rise to the top, the cream will rise to the top, but everything else will sink. Because they're going to be like, well, that's not that good. Like, so WWF back in the day did so well because Vince poured all that money into the production, and it wasn't just pro wrestling, it was a spectacle.
Yeah, it was
all
a show.
The characters were over the top. They had like the big pyro, and then so they were doing it really big. And then, so that it was something different. So it took off with like the mainstream media, whereas like NWA was still like professional wrestling, but it still did well because it was more believable and had like a better production than say like the AWA or World Class from back in the day. So that helps too. But like, so it's just, and honestly, there's a few factors that go into it. But I think if there was this big, I don't know if wrestling could be oversaturated. It can be oversaturated with the same program.
Sure.
Like, so AEW has like what, 3 shows? And I don't think they all do well. I don't know.
AEW?
They have Collision, they have Dynamite
and Rampage,
and they have Ring of Honor too.
Which they don't do enough as a separate brand. I'm going to say that out loud.
What's that, Ring of Honor?
They should do, it needs to be more brand split away.
I think different people should run it. Like Tony runs everything, but I mean, I get it why he does because he wants certain things a certain way, so it makes sense. But I think sometimes he may stretch himself too thin.
He does.
I don't know him like that, but that's just my observation. Is like,
I mean, you'd
you
almost think
can't-
that from anybody.
Yes,
taking
like
on
any
that
type
much.
of boss,
Yeah.
in anything you can
You
can
can
only
stretch
do
yourself
so
too thin,
much.
Mhm.
But I do think so. I think they may oversaturate their brand.
Right.
But then again, you have like 200 people on that roster, and probably like
That's
maybe
a
75 of them are on TV all the time.
Right.
So maybe not even that. So you got to think like that. To me, that's where the oversaturation would go. But whereas WWE has 3 shows: NXT, SmackDown, and Raw, and you have different people on each show.
Mhm.
So I think that is really good. I
Right.
think they do it correctly, and their brand is so built that they've taken a few hits.
Mhm.
And there was a while there it was like horrible, but then they started to get back on the ball and do things a little bit better, a little bit different. And so I think once you figure out that formula, what works for you and then your audience, you just have to figure out how to grow it. Because AEW has a really niche audience right now. They just have to, I think, bringing in people like when CM Punk was there, when Adam Copeland's now there, when you bring in those names and it creates this buzz,
Yep.
you bring in people that don't, oh, yeah, I remember him. Let me go
Right.
watch this.
Right.
So, and that helps like with WWE when, The Undertaker showed up or when The Rock showed up. What, The Rock showed up? Like,
Yeah.
oh, man, I better start watching SmackDown again. You know what I mean?
Right,
So they
right.
tune in for a little bit and maybe they like what they see and they
Yeah.
stay or
You
maybe they
introduce
don't.
some of the smaller
Yeah.
wrestlers and some people they're not familiar with.
But you get a spike of viewership and
Exactly.
then some people, maybe it may stay up there a little
You
bit.
might hook a
and then
few.
people might trickle down a little bit.
Yeah, it might be a view. So we've actually touched some great points that I was going to bring up on a couple. So I'm going to kind of bounce around just a little bit here, but I do want to go back to the toxic fandom because this is the big piece for me.
Yeah.
Just generally overall, and more specifically, and I keep calling it tribalism fandom. And I know sometimes I bite into it. I'm very self-aware of who I am, and sometimes even the gatekeepingness.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a little bit of a bit, but I understand it. However, the way the fans react to some of this stuff is especially, and I'll get to it here in a second about even the dirt sheets, but in the last year and a half, it's ramped up pretty bad. I feel like to the point where like you could have 10 reports in one day about a different topic from the same dirt sheets about whatever's going on, and it's like, it's like we're trying to get, we're at this point now where media is just trying to get reactions and play into like some form of emotional intelligence. And it's like that with everything. It's always been like that. But I feel like it's gotten really, really bad with wrestling. And I don't jump in a lot of the comments. I sometimes like or stuff like that. And once in a while, like I'll see something, I'll just put some dumb gif in it. I don't try to talk or to debate these people. But the reason I wanted to bring this up, and this is actually because of Adam coming to AEW. Now, listen, I'm not a big Punk fan. I appreciated the pipe bomb. He left wrestling for a lot of years. I don't want to get down in that whole discussion. I will say I watched his initial entry into AEW, was excited because he seemed like he was happy to be back.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I was limited to my excitement because I just overly don't care for CM Punk as much as some people do. Edge is a different story. Adam Copeland was different for me. I was generally like waiting on the edge of my seat watching this pay-per-view
You were
because he was
edging.
rumored. There you go. Because I was waiting, and then Alter Bridge hit, and I did. I freaked out, man. And like I swear to God, I'm like
I
a
will
kid.
say the video in the beginning was kind of, I thought that was silly. To me, if they just had hit his music
Yeah.
without that
Yeah.
video, it was a huge pop. I think it would have been even better without
I think it was the creative, and because he talked about that in the scrum actually.
Did he?
He said that
Scrum. Scrum.
it felt really cool at 2 a.m. to be in Seattle, holding a camera guy out a window recording shit.
Yeah,
And I think that it's that creative control that these guys are
Yeah,
missing, especially when you come from someone at WWE. It gave him a new sense of renewal to what wrestling had been for him and what he loved about it at one time as well too.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you, I'm sitting in the seat and I swear to fucking God, as soon as the music hit, I did the same thing he did, standing up there.
Yeah.
Like I probably like a little kid, like.
But if you look at his face when he walks out, that was genuine.
He was
You know what I
genuinely
mean? So
excited.
So when people say, "Oh, why did he do that?" That was why, because he loves it. So when he went out there and he got that huge reaction, I got goosebumps just thinking about it.
Oh, such a
And,
great pop.
I don't even know the guy, and I was happy for him.
Yeah,
It should be,
yeah.
but that shows like he was happy, and that was a moment for him, not alone us.
Yep.
But it was a moment for him. So that should be like, that's why he's doing it.
So
man.
so what I saw, and this is what sparked a lot of this thought process and why I wanted to talk to you about this stuff. This is the catalyst for it. As somebody who's a big Cody fan and watched him go to WWE and was heartbroken because he was a mainstay for me in AEW, but because I'm a Rhodes family fan, I was excited for him because I knew that's what he wanted to do. It was good for his career, and he does fit really well in what WWE does with his product. He can adapt better than most. I feel like he had been there.
Yeah, really.
And it's going to help platform him even higher. I am a fan, and I always be a fan. Now, what I was seeing on the internet after Adam got on AEW was very, very I was pretty pissed because I don't want to try and start splitting fans in half, and I probably will a little bit just because it's an observation as somebody who still appreciates all wrestling. The only reason, if you don't know, and I've talked about it before, the only reason I don't watch WWE is because Vince McMahon is in charge. In some sense.
God damn it, pal.
That's the only reason. I watched for 8 months when Triple H had control and Vince had retired. Then I was watching WWE. Until Vince is no longer involved, I will not watch that product. I just can't do it by principle alone.
Vincent Price,
but
McMahon.
I do keep tabs on certain people out there. Bay, of course, who is Rhea Ripley, LA Knight, Cody Rhodes, Kevin and Sammy, and some of and of course Randy Orton. Those are some of my favorites that are still in WWE. Yep, some of my favorites in WWE. I do keep tabs on those folks. Now, WWE fans, the one that stopped me was literally a guy had said. And this was the nicest way that he had said it compared to everybody. He said he literally turned his back on his fans. That's literally what the guys, and that's what spun this whole conversation for me, because that really
so dumb.
Because that triggered me. I'm like, how can you sit there and say him going at the end of Near's career, and even Triple H said he even said that that they didn't realize either of them had anything else left for each other.
Exactly.
And he wanted more. And we know him and Christian are best friends. They want to do something together again. They want another run or whatever. And this is what I wanted to happen, which is them to go head to head at least first. I wanted them to go head to head. I didn't want
what's going to happen later on though.
Right. And I didn't. I wanted. This is what they're doing now is actually what I wanted, because I knew it would bring the best out of both of them. And so far in just a couple of shows, it's done that. So, how do you feel when you hear or see something like that? Because I know how it made me feel. Like as a fan who tries to objectively try to enjoy all the product, just wrestling.
I don't mean this in no disrespect to anybody in the chat or anybody watching or anything like that. I hate not individually. It's like saying, man, I hate people. I don't hate individuals, but I hate people. Yeah, I hate fandom.
Yep.
Okay. I see it. The internet, like we were saying, how good it is for people to get recognized and noticed, and indie wrestling to blow up or whatever. It's also, the flip side of the internet. I see it, and we'll get into it when we talk about Ahsoka as well. You're either on, it's like politics. You're either on this side or that side, and the logical people are in the middle. You can like something, but you don't have to do it towards to that he turns his back on his fans. Dude loves wrestling. Let him wrestle.
Right.
He wants to go wrestle with his best friend. Let him go wrestle with his best friend. He did everything at WWE. Let him do something new. And then if he can ever come back, he'll come back, and it'll be even more special. It's like, I just don't understand that mentality. We're fans of things. Yes, we're passionate about it, but we don't own it. We don't have to like it, but you can discuss that.
Blanco, I'm seeing you.
You can discuss that. Sorry, Pumpkin Spice fans, they'll kill you. They will. You can dislike something and be cordial about it. You know what I mean? You're like, man, I really wish Edge hadn't made that choice, but it is what it is. Say that. You don't have to do all this other stuff where you're crapping on the product, saying, "Oh, Tony Khan's a piece of shit," blah blah blah, stuff like that, or Adam Copeland, what a stupid, what he's going to do, It doesn't need to get to that level. You don't have to like something, but when it starts to get to that toxic fandom, it's like, and you see it in every aspect of that tribalism.
So when they say he turned his back on
betrayed,
betrayed. Are they saying like by leaving WWE? He betrayed?
Yes.
But I mean, if you're a fan of his,
right?
wouldn't you just be a fan wherever he goes? I mean, if you're such a fan,
it's the brand loyalty thing.
see, that's fucking weird.
It really
to me,
is.
man.
I mean, we see it in video games all the time.
Yeah,
you
You know
see
what I
it
mean?
every
big time.
Like,
and it's just it's so weird. I mean, like,
Yeah.
look, if I'm a fan of a performer, whether it's in sports, movies, or whatever, and they're behind a certain brand, and if they leave and go somewhere else, I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, what the fuck?
Right.
I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna just go watch them over there then.
Mhm.
You know, I don't understand that logic. That's weird.
If he had said, you know what, I'm going to AEW, fuck WWE and fuck all you fans, then okay, cool. If he had did something that was like wrong, egregious, or he was like super arrogant about something, then I could be like, oh, I could see that, you know. Or if he was like, well, I'm going to AEW because I believe this and I don't believe this, and then it became like this weird thing.
If you make
like,
it personal, then
yes, but he's
doing what's best for him.
Well,
it's
not
just
only
a
that-
career decision. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like WWE and both of them said there wasn't much more that they had for him. Like the
Right.
Judgment Day thing didn't go as planned. He talked about that recently, apparently on Talk is Jericho. They rushed that whole process. You know, if you're not aware of all that, you can go back and even see that like a year and a half ago when all that happened.
Yeah.
It didn't go the way they planned. They rushed it. He wasn't overly happy about it as well, too. But, you know, they've got a lot of other talent. WWE is a little bit more tighter on the belt with their talent, and that's fine. That's how they roll things. And Edge is a big draw and still a big name, and clearly, you know, he can still do that. It might not be as big as other folks, but again, like for somebody like me, I was really hyped because I do watch AEW more frequently. So to be able to see him once again be in that kind of limelight as the rated R superstar, still be able to use that name, still be able to use this, you know, the Alter Bridge song as well too. What is it, Metalingus, or you know, that's still exciting for me as well too. But you know, if AEW's got work for him and want to put some center around him, put him like near the top, you know, and it's not like they're taking limelight from any of the newer guys. Like MJF's still getting plenty of fucking time.
Right.
Darby's still getting plenty of time.
Yeah.
You know, throw him at the top as well too. Why not?
If anything, they'll be putting those guys over soon. I mean, look
Yeah.
at Daniel Bryan. He does that. These guys don't hold anybody down. They share it. And where'd it go? Perfect Wolf. That's a great response. Like, yeah, he wanted Edge to be a lifer, but he gets it. He's not, you know, saying fuck Edge or anything like that. He's like, yeah. He doesn't like it that he did it, but he gets it. So that's like same thing. It's like when we talk Star Wars, like there's a lot of things I don't like about Star Wars. I mean, I wish they would change it. I'm still going to watch Star Wars. And then when it comes to the point where if it's never changes, I guess I just won't watch it anymore. Because then it's like, I can't, you're making the same mistakes. I can't. I mean, that's a little bit different. There's like, they're not brand jumping, but we'll get into that too. But no, and then the Cuddles, I don't feel like in AEW, I think the older talent, and we were talking about Jericho earlier, they put over the younger talent real well. And sometimes putting over younger talent doesn't mean you lose the match. It means you go, the under talent's treated like an underdog, but you help make them look good. You help make them look like they're on your level. So when you do beat them, they come out just as good. Remember when, I don't know if you guys remember how long you're wrestling fans, but when Bret Hart and Steve Austin wrestled, for, I think it was for the Intercontinental titles at the one WrestleMania, when Austin was the heel, the bad guy, and he was bleeding all over the place, but Bret Hart was acting like a piece of shit. Even though Steve Austin lost that match, and they did the double switch where Bret was the heel after that match. Bret was a bad guy, and Austin came out as a good guy. That match, even though he lost, it did more for Austin than winning because he passed out and he was bleeding all over the place. And there was that awesome visual of him, you know, and he's literally screaming. You can see the blood just, you know, just dripping from his head. But him losing meant more than winning. Do you guys understand that?
Yeah.
So sometimes with the younger talent, they don't always have to win, but if they make the younger talent look good, they're getting the younger talent over. So the next time they meet and the younger talent wins, it means more.
It's exactly
it's like when Rocky lost in the first Rocky. I mean, he lost, but everyone was like, man, I fucking love this guy.
Exactly.
Or it's exactly like Rosie Perez said to Woody Harrelson in White Man Can't Jump. Sometimes when you win, you lose. And
Billy, give me a
sometimes
glass
when
of
you
water.
lose, you win.
Give me a glass of water, Billy. Billy, give me a glass of water.
Oh, man, I got to fucking reference White Man Can't Jump.
Did you see the new one?
Shut the fuck
Duck
up.
and Goose, I refuse to watch that.
The king and the duck.
Horseshit.
King and the duck.
King of the
King
duck.
of the
That's
duck.
right. I always say duck and goose for some reason. Yeah, king of the duck.
King of the duck. King of the duck. Anyways,
Yeah.
No, I appreciate your perspective on that. It was really heartbreaking to see that because, and I don't want to, like I said, here's my thing. And I also got to know I got definitely some blinders on because I do preference AEW currently, but I do keep an eye on WWE as much as I can, specifically also certain people as well. But I find, and I think everybody's going to have a different perspective on this, but I do follow a lot of different wrestling groups on Facebook, Twitter, and things like that. I have found in my personal observation that of the two fandoms, the WWE fans are the most toxic. And the only reason I can feel that way is because of their super brand loyalty.
Yeah,
they don't like the competition.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying AEW doesn't have any because they certainly do. I've seen plenty of them. But from what I've seen more often than not, it has been the WWE fandom being
hilarious.
so absolutely toxic, right?
Jericho.
It's
He does too.
that's pretty fucking
Jericho
hilarious.
looks like my aunt on her way to Sunday
That's
Night
fucking great.
Bingo.
That's pretty good.
That's fucking brilliant. But yeah, that's been my observation because I've never, like, when Cody moved on or even Jade, like, you're gonna have both sides say stuff. But when I saw, and maybe it's because Edge is somewhat of a bigger name, and I don't even want to get into CM Punk fans that simp so hard on that. Like, again, you're a common denominator no matter what side of the fence you fall on. That whole thing, I'm just, WWE said today they're not going to pick him up either because they said that right now the cons outweigh the pros on that, and I think that was a great choice. Not without fault from either, both sides, when he was in AEW for sure, but it's pretty well known by a lot of people that a lot of major talents don't like working with CM Punk because he's not easy to work with, and if your characteristic is you're hard to work with and you're an asshole, that says more about your character.
Why work so hard to get that type of reputation?
I don't get it either. I don't
like
get it
at some point you got to realize when you realize, hey, I'm not working, and nobody wants to work with me. At what point do you look in the mirror and think to yourself, I need to fucking change my ways a little bit?
Like,
maybe this time he will, but who knows?
This will cause a stir. I don't think he's that great of a wrestler either. So
CM Punk fans are the wrestling version of Swifties. Change my mind. Hey, don't forget, ! Enter. You have 20 minutes. We're going to draw a winner for a Rohit Raju t-shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees. ! Enter. 20 minutes. You have to be here to claim it. Get in there. Enter in right now for a chance to win.
I think my favorite shirt that I have on there, I wish I had the Wu-Tang design. I have an old Hakeem Zayn one, but I wouldn't recommend that one just because I never go by Hakeem Zayn anymore. But my favorite one is, I always like Dragon Ball Z, and there used to be this character called Oob. And so I had someone draw me as Oob when I had the mohawk, and it's like an anime version of that. But I also have there's a double R one. I actually have that in stock, like at my house, because I actually going to start selling those at shows. So if you pick that one, we can get it to you quicker because I can just give it to one of them and we can go from there.
Ooh, you got a question. Rohit, what do you know about Riddle? Why does WWE get rid of guys that can actually wrestle?
Don't know. I don't know the whole thing about him. I think he got in trouble for some stuff. I don't know.
I thought some drug testing issues as well too.
I think so.
Those issues where you fail.
Yeah, well, I think there was like an incident at an airport, but some of it was like his fault, and so I honestly don't know, so I couldn't tell you.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think they would have got rid of him because from what I heard, they had plans for him. So who knows?
Just call me. I think so. He says he mods for Colt Cabana, and the amount of harassment and feature role that dealt with stream is staggering. He's genuinely nice. And
Colt's really nice.
And that to me, the test, like, that's night and day people, because Colt Cabana is known to be a great guy.
Yeah,
seems like a super great guy. So I appreciate you sharing that as well. Just call me. I know what you mean by that, and trust me. I don't doubt, and it's probably pretty ridiculous, and I'm sorry to hear that he still has to deal with that because I think it's unfair.
He'll be at Glory Pro on Sunday. He's teaming he's teaming with Dan the Dad.
He's such a great guy. I wish we were friends, but we're not. But.
That's just crazy, man. I mean, you guys, again, we were just talking about how important the internet is in terms of like getting more exposure and whatnot, but it's also just a really shitty fucking place.
It is, and someone had put 50-50 in the chat, and it's 50-50. Some people are just
gotcha.
It's
gotcha.
bad.
There's just no way to really monitor what people are doing and what their intentions are, and when they get on there behind the anonymity of the internet, it gets pretty nasty.
Yeah,
Thanks, Crash.
appreciate that. Yeah, appreciate you you being here. Yeah, just call Twans as well too. Twans is also a fan of wrestling, and she's a super fan too, and super supportive as well too.
And Dita, I think I've seen. I think you. I can't tell by your picture. I can't remember if you follow me on social media or not, but I could be wrong. But thanks for coming in the chat today.
Yeah, we appreciate having you here.
Thanks for coming back, Panda eating pancakes. I know that person's been in and out.
He had to go take a shower.
Go take a shower.
Clean his ass, and now he's back.
You didn't miss Ahsoka yet.
No,
so
we have not gotten to Ahsoka
We're about
yet.
to
We've been
shortly.
talking about some
So
wrestling.
appreciate you having you because Just Call Me has added some great perspective as well too out there.
Thanks for the permission.
But that's pretty much for the most part what I want to jump into here. I did see that Sammy Callan looks like he's living in Impact. Is that?
I don't know with Sammy, and
Is
I
I've been
saw
seeing
that
that
too. But Sammy's done everything there. I mean, what else can Sammy do? But who knows? I know Sammy and Dean Ambrose are really good friends. Sammy has a great promotion, PW Revolver, which he needs to book me on. But he was going to book me for something, but I was doing a different show. So, but I want to do his PW Revolver for real. Cool. But Sammy, he's a great dude, great wrestling mind. And nothing but the best of luck for him wherever he goes, whether he goes back to Impact, goes AEW, WWE, whatever he does. Sammy's great. And he's genius when it comes to wrestling. He's a very smart guy.
Yeah, and in the because him and Mox are really good friends. That's the biggest push I'm seeing right now as well too. And we all want him and Ethan and the gang to do another Fat Food Fest. That is still one of the all-time greatest.
Told him that when I saw
So
him last.
good.
We did.
Where'd you guys go last? Where'd you guys go last? That was promoted. Was it Arby's?
We did Arby's. We were in St. Louis, so we did Arby's. We had Strange Donuts.
Strange Donuts.
We had this one place that was the original Dairy Queen, but Dairy Queen stole the idea from them, and then we went to this deep dish or this real Chicago style pizza place. Man, I had so much food I thought I was gonna puke, and it was tremendous. But we went the last time we went to Pages and we lifted weights, and there was like a festival going on downtown, and we kind of had like a little mini Fat Food Fest. We all bought. Yeah, we weren't recording it; we were just hanging out. But it was funny. We bought like these hot like cookies that were all bunched in this like container together, and like all these standalone cookies, and like him and I went and grabbed like ice cream smoothies. We ate so much food, and after we lifted weights, and he cooked steak, and we ate steak while we were there. I played around with his kids, played basketball. We had fun, man. It was a blast.
You know what we need to do is collaborate and do a beer quest with you guys to the Great Lakes Beer Festival next year.
Honestly,
August.
We don't drink beer.
Well, I mean, that's okay. You can just go there and watch us get drunk, and just you guys can like run around and play the games in the field.
I drink like I'll drink liquor, but like I barely drink that anymore too.
What's up?
No, I'm good.
It's a cream pie, bro.
I did have the double for my cheat day. I had a double decker oatmeal cream pie.
Oh,
So good. And a donut.
Another guy who loves a good cream pie. I love it.
Hey.
I love it.
Hey.
King says, I'm excited as always to be the current Cuddles Wrestling Federation
Bullshit.
champion.
That's bullshit.
Typically, I am too. So yes, that's great.
$500 Cuddles. Let's do it.
Yeah, right. So, well, just to kind of wrap up again, I know we don't normally, like I said, normally don't talk about wrestling. I appreciate that. I know we got to dive into some Ahsoka here, and you kind of alluded to what's been going on at the beginning to what you've been doing as well too. So, are you still working with AAW too as well?
I have not done AAW in quite some time. I did freelance, and they were kind of sour about that, but I'm just trying to get paid. I'm sure if I hit up Danny, I could go back. I just haven't really had the urge to, but I love AAW. I love all the guys there. My friends still work there, so I think I will. I'll try and go back there sooner or later.
You cut some awesome promos when you were there, man.
It was so much fun, and that was the first place that really let me let loose and cut loose and say what I wanted, and it was all like real how I felt.
Yeah.
The funny thing was when I was doing it behind the mask, everyone thought those promos were Killer Cross and LA Knight. That goes to show you something. Then when I took it off, everyone was like, "Who's this guy?" You know, the guy that you thought was cutting those hot ass promos that you thought were Killer Cross. You know, WWE Superstar Killer Cross, and LA Knight, WWE Superstar LA Knight, but who are on top of the game right now. And you thought those promos were them. So that should tell you something.
That tells you everything.
Then
you
I'm
need to know.
really, really good. But then you're like, "Oh, it's just short brown guy." So let's not like him. Go fuck yourselves. How about that?
What kind of
Fuck
gifts can
yourselves.
fans give? Athletic tape, Starbucks restaurant gift cards.
If
What do
you
want?
guys want to give me gifts,
He likes food.
I never thought I will say this that's not me. I honestly should do more because like the gay community loves me, man. Like they're always, you guys out there messaging me some wild shit. You need to stop that because that's not okay. Because if we were to do that to a woman, some of the stuff you guys message me is pretty bad. But I laugh it off. I'm like, okay, you guys are just horny dudes, so it's
Hey,
whatever.
man, it's good to be loved.
Yeah,
it's good
it
to
is
be
good to be loved.
desired, man.
But like,
Yeah,
so
dude,
I always
knock
thought
it
about,
off, by the way.
I
Yeah,
can't
dude,
help
like,
it. It's my
I wasn't gonna say
my
anything.
burner account.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
I know.
Yeah, his
right?
burner account says it's dude97.
Dude97 the bear.
Oh man.
No, I'd probably join Jake. I'd have to wrestle Jake. I don't know, but I'm glad that Ren and X are doing well at AAW. It's about time. But
Yeah.
Man, if you guys ever want to get me gifts, I don't like asking for this stuff, but I see a lot of wrestlers, a lot of female wrestlers especially, because dudes are just suckers, man. But they have their Amazon wish list and they clean up. But if you ever want to give me a gift, I will take gift cards, food.
He likes food.
I usually test the food first because I never know if it's poisoned. I'm that paranoid. But like,
He always comes over and goes, hey, try
yeah,
this.
hey,
Try
try
this.
this.
Napoleon over here.
Athletic tape's huge. Wrestlers always need
Oh,
athletic
yeah.
tape. Black athletic tape, or white athletic tape. My God, baby oil. I always baby oil up before I go
Gold
out
bond?
there. I wear thongs underneath my gear because my cheeks, I got cheeks, so I got.
Which, by the way, we'll be
Christmas
also raffling
hams.
those off here in about a half hour.
I got 2 Christmas hams back there, so my trunk's always Ahmed Johnson it. So everyone's like, you can't, like your underwear is showing. So I was like, I really don't want to wear a thong, but I wear a thong. It's pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie, it's like very comfortable.
You heard it here first.
Got to have those safety underwear. I don't like the cups. I don't do that. I used to do that with MMA, but like the thongs though. Like,
Yeah, it was just like a
pretty
couple of
good.
seashells, like a scone or something, some string.
But yeah, if you ever want to do that, food is the main
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'll see some ladies get like PS5s off their wish list.
Create an Amazon wish list.
You
Dudes,
should create one.
dudes are
Get a
silly.
PS5 on there. You get a PS5 on there. So
About to clean up the thong section for you. I always need some, so there you go.
lastly, before we jump here, so do you know who your next opponent is?
If Glory Pro right now it's up in the air for transportation for Glory Pro, but it would be Cody Lane.
If you want to cut a promo right now,
I'll cut a promo for my t-shirts.
cut a promo for your
Let me
t-shirts then. Do
see.
that. There you go.
If you want to walk around in style and look like a Greek god, and better yet, an almond Adonis, a mocha skinned manimal such as myself, Rohit F Baby, the Rotorious, Rohit Raju, the HIT, that's me, that's right. You can go to my ProWrestlingTees.com/Rohit. Now, I know the stuff is a little bit outdated, but if you haven't been there, it's new to you. So guess what? Go there, pick out a t-shirt, hit enter, exclamation point. Is that what it is?
Exclamation point, enter.
Exclamation point, enter. And you may win one for free. If not, go there anyways. Check out my stuff. Hit me up on the old Raju Zane 80 on Insta. See all my cool stuff that I'm posting, all my shorts, all my reels. You can see maybe post my dogs once in a while. Probably not because I don't like to post personal stuff, but I'm always on there. Gym selfies all the time. If you really want to get awesome, you hit up my Patreon. I'm always running my mouth on there about everything. And then you will see my dogs on there and cool stuff like that. But other than that, go get yourself a sweet t-shirt. Look awesome. Look like a mocha skinned manimal. Maybe not as jacked, but just as sweet.
I want to look like a bag of milk.
Bag of yogurt, bag of milk.
There you go. There you go. Awesome. So, well, I appreciate, like I said, getting a chance to jump into that. Like you've seen you guys out there, the exclamation point Rohit that we just pulled out there. You can follow his socials there as well too.
3 seashells, like from
Get you a link
Demolition
tree.
Man.
Yeah, man.
I should get a
We need
link.
to get you
You're
a
right.
link tree.
You're right.
Get it all in there.
The old man doesn't know
We're working with you.
yeah.
That's why we're here. For you. That's
social
why we're here.
media. You can
That's why we're
follow me on X. Is it called X? I don't understand.
It's
that.
X or something.
Exclamation
Oh,
mark enter if you
Mocha-mitis,
want
I
to get
like
that.
that one.
Yeah, exclamation point enter. You got 10 minutes left to enter in for a chance to win
Right.
Rohit Raju a t-shirt for Pro Wrestling Tees. All right, guys, we are going to hop in. We have a trailer.
One trailer
We
here.
have a singular trailer.
Good trailer for tonight
Yes.
to watch as well.
And I
too.
know this is something that you guys are really excited about.
Very.
Yes, I am. You know I am.
You can only enter one time, Dita. But I
It's all
appreciate
good. It's all good.
appreciate
It's all
the
good.
effort. I
all good.
appreciate the effort. Yes, there you go. Get in there.
Can I
Get
enter?
in there.
Can I
And
enter
still
in
with
or no?
Slim Jim selfies. Slim Jims are good.
I love Slim Jims. All right, let's check out the trailer for Iron Claw.
Ever since I was a child, people said my family was cursed. Mom tried to protect us with God. Pop tried to protect us with wrestling. He said if we were the toughest, the strongest, nothing could ever hurt us. I believed him. We all did.
Morning.
Pants tomorrow, please, David.
Perry, I want you to join your brothers in the ring.
Yes, sir. I love that.
Now, we all know Kerry's my favorite, then Kev, then David, then Mike. But the rankings can always change.
What do you want in life, Kevin Von Erich?
More ribs? I want to be with my family. You know, be with my brothers.
What do you like to do with your brothers?
Together, we can do anything.
We're here to restore justice to the Wrestling Federation that our father built with his own two hands. The hands that were passed down to us. The hands that will deliver the Iron Claw to you.
So what do you think? Like we're alive.
I love your family, Kevin.
You gonna be an uncle?
Yes, sir.
Oh man, that makes me so happy. I talk to you about something, Mom. Dad's too tough on us. You gotta say something.
Baby, that's what your brothers are for.
Feel that? You feel that? That's pressure.
You're pushing too hard. I'm fine, kid. Seriously, I'm just sick.
I'm scared, man. It all out of control.
That's a terrible accident.
I should have stopped him. I need to think about my family.
Your job is to wrestle. Live up to that deal, or we are through. I told you to look out for him!
I just love being out there with you guys. It's the only thing that matters to me.
The Bonner will forever be the greatest family in the history of wrestling.
Man,
I got goosies from that.
yeah.
All right.
First of all, I want to say that the Prince Adam joke and the He-Man joke, Blanco as well. That had me laughing out there as well
Yeah.
too. So, and she said that
Oh,
the
he
Von
is
Erichs are
Terry
still very
Gordy?
iconic there in
Sweet.
Texas. So,
Yeah, they tore down the Sportatorium years ago, but it was like the place. So if you don't know, that's about the Von Erichs. That is legit. It's a real story. The Von Erichs were a wrestling family, one of the biggest wrestling families down in Texas, and the promotion was World Class Championship Wrestling, WCCW. The Fabulous Freebirds came from there. Steve Austin, that's where he first started out, but he was Stunning Steve. He had long blonde hair. But like a lot of greats came from there, and there's a lot of great people. But that was back in the 80s. So that lifestyle was like back then, these wrestlers were partying like rock stars, cocaine, tons of steroids, stuff like that. And so the story, if you don't know the story about the Von Erichs and you want to watch this movie, it comes out December 22nd. Don't look it up because it's sad as fuck and you don't want to spoil anything for yourself. But that whole story, it's a tragedy. So, but this looks spot on. Everyone's gassed to the gills. It looked great. I'm very excited to see where this goes. And it's A24, and A24 has
A24. That when you see A24 involved, you already know you're gonna get quality story.
Yep. So I'm excited.
And if you're telling me this is a story based around tragedy, it's probably gonna be some heart wrenching shit.
Yeah. See, I wonder how far they can go with it because, well, I think they mentioned Chris in the trailer, don't they? Yeah, that's the big thing. Yeah, they try to. The thing with the Von Erichs, though, they try to downplay a lot of that, like Fritz being tough on him and shit. So, but I heard none of the Von Erichs were a part of this. I won't say. I was about to say something, but I don't want to say it because then it spoils the movie. But this spoils their story.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So I don't think the Von Erichs were a part of this. But we'll see. Looks awesome.
Oh,
Hopefully they get in the nitty gritty because their story is very dark. Very dark.
And that's something that A24 tends to dabble in when they do tell a story. I mean, most of the stuff we've seen so far has been like fictional, but it still gets pretty dark. This is based more on something that really happened, so it's they'll still explore the dark stuff, but the stuff that's going to make it difficult is because it's real.
Yeah, you see someone's playing Ric Flair in the movie. You'll see, I know MJF is in it. He's playing, I'll say the fake Von Erich, Lance Von Erich, and you'll see what I mean when that happens. And back then, wrestling, it was kayfabe. It was real. Like, if someone, when Magnum TA was this huge wrestler in the 80s, when he got in a car accident, the Horsemen, who were the heels at the time, they had to sneak them in the hospital to go see him. They couldn't just walk in because they would think, oh my God, they're here to kill him.
Right.
Because that's how crazy wrestling was back then. It was real.
Mm-hmm.
So the good guys only hung out with the good guys, the bad guys only hung out with the bad guys. So you'll see what I mean by the fake Von Erich and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. No, dope looking trailer. Zac Efron looks just ridiculously jacked. I mean, he's already a cut dude, but like he is jacked.
Huge. Got them good Hollywood drugs in them.
And they're punching that out in December. I mean, that's typically when you put out movies that are going to be in competition for award season, win the Oscars and whatnot. I mean, this is the time of year where the studios put out their best stuff. So depending on what kind of performances we get or what kind of story we get or how impactful it is, this is more or less probably going to be something that we're going to see at award season when things kick off. So, dude, your mic is strange. Better now? Okay. It's probably just because my voice is starting to go to shit, so I might sound a little bit different. I keep moving away. I will deep throat this fucking thing.
He
so
will.
You guys,
So what else is new?
do not have to.
You should see how wet it is right now. Gross.
Excuse me. Why does dude have an echo? I don't know.
Probably because the 3 mics up here. And
A lot of mics, a lot of feedback. It's difficult to fix it up. So,
Is it that bad?
I mean, if it is, I don't care.
Oh, okay. All right, my bad.
Don't care. We were going to talk a little bit about he has a RoboCop feedback. Really? Uh-oh.
Your move, creep.
Your move, creep.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
I will try.
I work for Dick
not-
Jones. Dick Jones.
Unbelievable.
Great movie. Great fucking movie.
Uh-oh. Dita just won the
Hey, all right.
giveaway. Just call me Dita just won the giveaway.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
First night here. Congratulations
Awesome.
to you.
That's
Appreciate it.
awesome.
Exclamation point claim. If you're still there, exclamation
She did.
point claim.
You got
Awesome.
it.
Shit. Okay, there it is. Awesome. We will get your details after the show.
Yeah.
We'll reach out to you one way or another, and
Awesome.
we'll figure out where we can send that.
If you're on X, you can even message the Banter and Babble
Yes.
account as well too.
Yes.
And when you
Probably
get it,
the
make
easiest
sure
way.
you tag me on the social medias,
Yeah,
please.
please.
Absolutely.
Congrats to you. Awesome.
We were going to talk about Assassin's Creed. I'm going to beat that this week. We'll talk about it next week. We're going to get to the main topic.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody
Hey.
gives a fuck about Assassin's Creed Mirage.
Typically.
I have a pros and cons list, too.
Oh, my God. He just broke out a list.
And it's actually good. It's more pros and cons.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah.
good.
It's
My-
actually
my
just
hair
a
looks green. It's weird.
Koran drawing of Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Look at my drawing.
All right, guys. We're going to get into it. Ahsoka, not a... Oh, where are we at?
Hi.
Wow, well.
Oh,
Technical
well, we're in the
difficulties.
dark.
We're in the world between worlds.
Hey, Snips. All right.
There we go.
Here we are.
Hey.
We're here.
Hey.
We're back. But no, Ahsoka, I'm assuming, so far, we're assuming it's season 1 and not series
Hey,
finale.
Dita.
But Ahsoka has come to an end.
Yep.
This was a very highly anticipated series for Disney Plus. And we're just going to jump right into it, you guys. I mean, like, look, I know you guys were big fan. I do not have the context of watching Rebels or Clone Wars, but you guys do. And that's why I really want to get your thoughts on this, because obviously Dave Filoni was involved in this. This is his baby. It's part of his Mandoverse or whatever it's called. But this was a very highly anticipated show because of who was involved, the character involved. It's a live-action version of something we haven't seen before. And again, it's Dave Filoni's baby. He was highly involved in this. But, Tone, I'm going to come to you first, man. Let's get the conversation going.
Okay.
Ahsoka, season 1.
Well, I'm gonna so how this is gonna work is I'm gonna let definitely at some point you kind of lead the way to have you on here. Me and Rohit have talked extensively with Seven Dungeons, Crash about this series every episode. I think you're the only other one besides myself that watches it back to back, or at least twice right away.
Yep.
As soon as the episode's done, I go watch it again, and then go to bed. So typically how that works. But I really enjoyed the series. Overall, I did love it. I give it probably still about an 8.5 out of 10 if we were ranking, stars, or whatever. But I would say the big things about it was it was hard to balance core fans that have been longtime fans and casual fans. I think there's an honest piece with that, but I look at that at two sides. One, people had plenty of time knowing this was coming in to do their research, even if it was a Wikipedia. I don't care, anything.
Yep.
There was actually something released that said, if you want to know more, here's essential episodes. You go back and watch Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff like that.
I feel like this is a personal attack, but okay, continue.
Sure, but I'm just saying. But you also didn't have to, because I feel like one of the critiques that, of course, IGN said after the first couple episodes when they were whining about it was that they were taking too much time explaining backstory stuff. And I don't agree. I think they did that well enough to where they didn't oversaturate that and give people a little bit of an idea.
I needed it.
Right. It was good, and I think it's fair they did it, but I don't think it was like overdone either, though. I think it was a good amount to get people kind of an idea what was going on.
Do you think maybe it's because of the people that were already familiar with the source material? They're just like, oh, we're taking too much time.
Kind of, but even then, for me, it didn't feel like it drug on. I just, as a super fan of the character, of the series, because Dave said, and people had said, I don't know if Dave directly said it, but he kind of said it basically, that this was this was Rebel season 5 or whatever.
Right.
So this was just a live action continuation of that. And I know some people don't want to watch cartoons. That's perfectly fine. You also had a choice not to watch it too, and I'd rather people see it because they did make it for casual fans. But this is truly, at its core, at its heart beating, is a love letter to those of us that have followed this character for years, love the Rebels series, because we've said it many times on the show. Rebels is the best that captures the true essence and heart of what Star Wars has been, should be, and will always be.
Sure.
Rebels did that the best. And that's why these characters mean so much to a lot of us, is because we had to watch them grow. We've watched them grow. We watched Ahsoka. I went and saw that movie in 2008 in the theaters. I don't remember if you were with me or not.
No, I wasn't.
But it was awful. You know what I mean? It was awful.
Yeah, it was an awful movie.
And then the characters introduced in the Clone Wars, and then you see, out of all the characters in Star Wars, it's one of the few that went from here to here,
hated to loved,
yeah, and in the best way possible, because Dave stuck with it, told the story, let the character grow, things in that nature as well. So this series did a lot of things for me that made me excited. I definitely feel like, now I don't, Andor to me is a different piece of Star Wars because it stands on its own legs, because if you take Star Wars out of it, it's just really well written. You don't.
And it doesn't lean into the Jedi stuff.
It doesn't, and that, which is why it's so great in my opinion. This brings it back to like more core feeling of Star Wars, a good mix of Clone Wars, prequels, and original trilogy. Honestly, like just a good mix of everything you want, but also at the same time, giving guys like us had watched it for a long time those silent wink nudges and eggs, Easter eggs, and things that we wanted to see and hope to see. It did a really good job of that. Now, it may have lost some casual fans along the way, but I've also heard a lot of casual fans that were like, this is really good. This is really
I would consider myself casual. Like I said, I know the mainline movies.
Sure.
And I know some of the spin-off stuff, and I'm getting caught up through like Andor and other things like that. But like I would consider myself casual compared to you guys.
Sure.
You guys have read books, you guys have watched a lot of shows and stuff like that. But like I came out of this going, this was a good show.
Yeah.
It was an entertaining
It was still a good entertaining show. Now, and we may dive into some of that as well too. There were some characters that really, the problem with this show was that it's a very ambitious on its storytelling, especially when you're trying to like bring people in and you're trying to take some ideas that really were birthed in Clone Wars as a cartoon and in Rebels and try to bring them live action and put them as a main centerpiece in Star Wars. It's not easy to do, and you're going to probably lose some people along the way doing that as well. And we're still not even sure if it's going to pan out right. Honestly, I'd say my biggest issue overall, point blank, with this series was the finale did not feel like a finale. Yeah. It felt like an episode setting up the finale, and we needed more. I think the series was good to have it as a series, not as a movie, because it helped draw stuff out. But that last episode left me, and this is the biggest issue I have with it completely. That last episode left me very like wanting more, and I don't know whether it was time, whether he didn't have enough more. I know you're going to get into probably some of that as well too, but there's more planned for what's called the Mandoverse. A lot of this is supposed to tie in with the Mandalorian. We'll see where that goes. We still don't know how that's going to fit. We'll get to that point at least at some point too. But Filoni is known. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's kind of known for leaving things a little unanswered to kind of like leave you guessing a little bit, and that's okay in some senses. But when you get to a live action like this, that's not a cartoon. It's really not a good thing if you want to keep people around for a while.
Yeah, that's the thing about that, because he did it in Rebels a lot with Ahsoka, the World Between Worlds. Because I kind of disagree with Tone in a point to where like I think you shouldn't have to do research for a show, but I'm glad you guys enjoyed it that didn't do the research. But like there's a thing there's something that happens in season 2 of Rebels, and it's a huge cliffhanger. And that doesn't get answered until season 4.
Season 4, I think.
Yeah. But so he is, but like I do agree with him saying like you can't, for a live action is a little bit different because you want a wider audience. So you can't do certain things you do with animation you can't do with live action.
Do you guys think that because it is live action, obviously there's a bigger budget involved compared to cartoons and such like that, do you think, and there's a lot of speculation that that this might, we haven't heard of a season 2 yet. They haven't announced it yet. There's speculation that obviously the way that it's set up, that it could be a season 2, but then there's also the confirmation from Filoni that he is directing a movie. He is going to get a film that's going to be kind of built around this Mandoverse. Do you think they're waiting to see the results of this to decide whether or not they're going to make the movie be the next natural step in progression in the story?
I don't think they know what they're doing, to be honest.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
If you look at Marvel and Lucasfilm, like I'm very critical on Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but like I'm not one of those fans that's like, oh, I'm just happy I'm getting Star Wars. No, because to me, Star Wars should never be mid. It should never be generic storytelling. To me, Star Wars should always be an event because that's what it was, right? So Lucasfilm's track record has been all over the place and has not been good. I mean, we can sit here and say we enjoy certain things, but there's been so many hirings and firings, and just I don't think they know what they're doing. They announced these movies, but with James Mangold, he directed the indie movie with that bombing. Is he still going to get his thing? Like the sequels or hate the sequels, you have half of your fan base that does not like the sequels, okay? That's just a given. There's people, half your fan base does not like the sequels. So instead of straying away from that, you're pushing towards it. So here's an example. Marvel recently just scrapped the entire Daredevil stuff that they did, right? Because they said, we don't think fans are going to like this. So they scrapped all of it and they're rewriting it. Because they want to give the fans what they want. They want to make it quality stuff. And Star Wars, knowing that half their fan base didn't like Rey and the sequel trilogy, says, guess what? We're making another Rey movie. That's not the right direction to go. Move far away from that. So that's why I don't think they know what they're doing. I didn't like Boba Fett. I did not like Obi-Wan. I liked episodes in each show, but I liked Andor, but it was kind of boring to me at times, but I still liked it. It was probably the best writing that you'll see. But I am a fan of adventure. And I feel like Mandalorian... What's up?
What'd you say?
Oh, adventure.
Thank you.
Excitement.
Never his mind on where he was. What he was doing.
A Jedi craves not these things.
For this long time I was...
Thanks. There we go.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I knew they'd give you.
Concentrate.
But no, I don't think they know what they're doing, and I didn't like a lot of the stuff they did. But I felt like, for me, this felt the most Star Wars, if that makes sense. And I think it's because look at everything that I have liked has been Filoni's had a hand in, besides Andor, because I feel like Filoni treats it as a passion, whereas everybody else treats it like a product.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2, I thought those were like, oh my God, this feels like Star Wars. And the respect for the lore and the characters were there. Mandalorian season 3, which Filoni didn't have a part of, was was not good to me.
Yep.
You know, it was fine, but it wasn't good. This was excellent to me. It had some things, and I'm on like 7.5, 8. I would have gave it a 9 out of 10 if they had stuck the landing. But I felt like in pro wrestling, we say the spots don't matter, the moments do, right? So I felt like they rushed a lot of moments, especially in the last episode. Sabine, I got my pros and cons. I'll run it down real quick.
Let's get into some of your pros and cons.
My pros and cons.
I would love.
This is what I was thinking.
we'll probably. I mean, I don't think there's much that we don't disagree on. Actually, we fall in the same. On the same a lot of this stuff.
But I did love this show. Like you'll hear me, have some cons about it. But like I told Tone, like I'm excited to see what happens next. I'm not scared or dreading. I'm like, oh my God, they're like knocking it out of the park. And it was honestly the last 2 episodes that kind of dipped, which sucked because they're the last 2 episodes. But especially that last one, like when they for one of my pros, I have Thrawn, right? Thrawn, I thought Lars Mikkelsen was awesome.
Who I thought was actually Robert Patrick. Like
Really?
I mean, I knew it was
He died,
Lars.
didn't he?
No, he's really alive. But like, when I
'cause
looked
he
at
was
him,
in-
I was like, man, I know that's Lars Mikkelsen, but I was like, at the same time, I could see that being
When I
Robert
said that, I was
Patrick.
like, oh, I can see that.
I can see that. Now that you
Seriously,
said
man,
it.
I was like, is that Robert Patrick?
I thought he was excellent with.
Have you seen this Jedi?
I thought he was excellent with the way he acted. I thought like
great.
the way he carried himself, the way he spoke. I didn't care that he was a little out of shape. He's an old man. But he was also on my cons because I felt like he was not a master tactician. He escaped.
They tried to create
They
that,
told us, they didn't show
but
us.
they didn't show us. Exactly.
So let
I
me.
was like, ew.
So I agree with you on both points. Thrawn was a pro and con. He was in presence and everything. How they presented him, how he sounded was great. The con was yes, they showcased just a little bit, especially when she was in the asteroid belt. They showcased a little bit of his tactfulness mind, but the rest of it felt very weak-wristed because
Do you know what it reminded me of? Kang and Ant-Man.
It kind of did.
He's there, like he's this massive threat.
There's no
but he's just
consequence.
kind of
There was
like
no
he's
Well,
just
I
kind
mean,
of there.
he's literally flicking at flies. It's not like
Yes.
he's got an entire fleet of rebel
Right.
ships he's trying to outmaneuver. It's like you're literally using a blaster cannon like fodder blaster against people with lightsabers.
And he was my biggest thing. He was reactive, not proactive.
Right.
And that's
Exactly,
like
yeah.
Thrawn. He was no different than any other general, or he didn't like. They didn't show what we know he's capable
Right.
of.
Yep.
So that was
Yeah,
something
at
there.
least, so we'll see.
But like, so hopefully they change that. Pros was the characters, cool new characters. I know Huang was in Clone Wars, but if you didn't watch Clone Wars, that was the first time he was in live action. The robot, the
One
droid,
of my favorite droids.
Voiced by David Tennant.
was
Was
awesome.
it David Tennant?
Like his just
like in the cartoon.
shallow humor, or his dry humor was
Can you
excellent.
teach me how to build a lightsaber? No.
Exactly, everything he did, like just you are one of
Poor
the
Jason.
worst
Yeah.
Force people I've ever seen, like that
Yeah.
type of shit. But Shin and Balin stole the show for me.
Yeah.
Anytime
I was actually disappointed with the way they hit Balin at the end.
at the end, yes, I was like, that was again, episode 8 was just like, what are we doing
Pisses
here?
me off because we're not going to be able to see that anymore.
Correct. But like every time he was on screen, no matter even if his dialogue was corny, he hit it out of the
He
park.
had that presence, that gravitas, where he just like,
Yes.
dude, when Ray
Yes.
was there, you were just like, I want to know what he's gonna say.
Gotta be Liev Schreiber.
Give me
Yes.
some fucking.
I'll take him or,
Ooh, man,
gotta
that
be
would
Schreiber
be
or,
a
Schreiber.
dope-ass
What's the
fucking
who
villain.
played
Yeah.
Leonidas?
Yeah.
I'll take him.
Liev Schreiber and him are the same height though.
Oh really?
Ray
That's a big
Stevenson and him
thing,
are
yeah.
the same fucking height.
But
What's
I'll
his
take-
name? Leonidas.
Who
Leonidas.
was
Gerard
Leonidas guy?
Butler?
Gerard
Butler.
Butler. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
gonna be good
I would
too.
I would rather go with Schreiber because Butler, when he talks, when he's not using his
Yeah,
real
Schreiber,
voice,
yeah,
you
almost
can
that
see it
weird
too
Sean
much.
Liev Schreiber
Schreiber would crush it.
Anyways,
But
yeah.
hopefully they do that. But honestly, I cared about him and Shin, what they were doing more than anything. And I thought when this goes, one of my cons was rush moments, when they say goodbye, it was just rushed. He's like, all right,
Yes.
peace out. I was like,
Yeah, go do your thing. I'm gonna go my way. I was just like,
damn,
wow.
that's
Our
so
path,
hopefully-
it could have been more talk about that.
Yes, again, it's
So-
something like you could have sat there with it, and it was just like deuces.
And
I was just
some
like,
of the
oh.
conversations people think where they're
Stone
going with
Cold
that
Steve
is
Austin.
weird.
And the thing
too.
that bugged me about the Bale and Skull thing is like I could tell there was some conflict, some inner conflict with him, and like I really
Right.
wanted more of that. And like I said, we get to
Right.
the 8th episode, and all he does is peace out to Shin, and then you see
Yeah.
him standing on the fucking the big ass statue, and I was just like, man, I really wanted to know what was going on with him. What
Yeah,
was
exactly,
he
Mason.
really
I
going
agree.
after?
Yeah, Mason said some good stuff. I do want to point out. He said, "Love Clone Wars, love Rebels, seeing in IRL Zeb was really cool."
Yeah, I was so bummed he wasn't in this. Oh my god!
Fuck it, you can't tell me they can't give him budget to put him in that for fuck's sake.
Seriously.
Anyways, we're headed to Thrawn trilogy. Love seeing canon. Do some justice for the characters and stories. Filoni directing is different.
Yes.
Episodes 1 and 5 definitely hit different from the
They
rest.
did, yeah.
Absolutely. Mason is where too. And Dita said she wanted to see more Cad. I love Cad Bane.
I
always
thought
wanted to see
Cad Bane
more
was
Cad
cool,
Bane.
and the way he talked was freaky
His
as hell.
voice was fucking
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah,
man.
I definitely.
He was cool.
Yeah, definitely. So continue.
My
please.
cons were Ahsoka and Sabine.
Yep.
Man, I hate to say it, man. I didn't give two shits about Sabine, and I loved her in Rebels. They tried to make her this badass rebel chick again, but she's a grown woman now.
Mm-hmm.
All of her decisions were selfish.
Yep.
She came across petulant, and she had zero consequences. I was like, you released the biggest threat on the galaxy, and it's good job, no big deal. Fuck that.
She
That's
was written
terrible
like a
writing.
fucking teenager in high school.
Yes.
She is a
That was-
fucking royal Mandalorian of pure blood Mandalorian.
Selfish as fuck.
That's why
Yeah.
Huang calls her lady, by the way, is because she's
Yeah.
from royal house of Mandalore. That's a nice little Easter egg there for you. You can put that in your book.
I saw it.
they
CW.
Yeah, she was
Very
CW.
CW.
it was ridiculous. She's a grown ass woman, lost her family in the
Yeah.
Purge of Mandalore, and she's acting like she's just some no nonsensical person.
Yeah.
She was training with
was
Kanan
horrible in
to
that.
learn how to use the dark saber, so that's why she
Yeah.
can kind of use the lightsaber. She worked with Ahsoka, but it was so
Yeah.
like, why couldn't we? They loved in Boba Fett to do time jumps. Why didn't we
Yeah.
do a little bit with that to show Ahsoka trying to train her
Sure.
and show her struggles
Show,
with that,
not
and
tell.
maybe showing her emotional struggle to get there.
Yeah.
That way we would have understood better their relationship, but they didn't do that, and that's really
No.
weird for Filoni not to. I felt.
And I didn't care about their relationship either. And I think part of it was they had no relationship in Rebels. They touched
all the more reason they need to show
exactly.
that to us. All the
So
more
it was
reason they
like
need
there
to
was
show that.
nothing there. Like they're the two main characters, and I didn't care about them at all. I cared about Ahsoka, but I love, like I said, I love Sabine, and the actress was fine.
It wasn't her fault.
It was not her fault.
Not her
It's what
writing.
it's the material they gave her. She was, but those two, their acting
just needed
was
conflict.
flat. Whereas
CW
like
conflict.
Thrawn, Shin, later on Hera, the first few episodes of Hera, she was flat, but afterwards Hera was great. And then fucking Ezra, and we'll get to him. He was so good. But like those two, and they tried to make, and they do this with the Jedi now. They
Yeah,
did it with,
Crash.
even though Luke was he was AI, they try to make him and Ahsoka too stoic, and it comes across dry and boring and flat. And like it wasn't until Ahsoka started to loosen up a bit. Even then, it was still like the way she acted. It just wasn't. I don't know. It was just. It came across weird to me.
It's
and I
so
didn't
funny how
care.
you guys mentioned how like some of these other characters were better written, more pronounced, more had bigger impacts on the show.
Yeah.
It almost goes back to what we did with Mando. How like, is this really Mando's show or is this really Boba Fett's show?
It was
Because
Sabine's
you
show.
have Ahsoka. Here's Ahsoka,
Really
but
odd.
not given the
Yeah.
best material, not given the best situations to really, let her character make her presence felt. You had other characters that were kind of like taking the lead.
Well,
And go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, Dita says Ahsoka's appearance in Mandalorian was so good. That Ahsoka,
Yeah.
that Ahsoka, and this Ahsoka were two different Ahsokas.
Mhm.
The only time we saw that Ahsoka
Yeah.
was when she first saw Ezra and got a hug. She actually
Yes.
smiled for once. Like I get she's
There
a
was
little bit
energy
more.
and charisma there.
I get that she's been through a lot. She had, she's fulcrum. She went through the war, doing whatever she was doing during then, things of that nature. So I understand that that's that growth. But like in Mandalorian, you saw a little bit more life from her, and like Rosario Dawson's a great actress.
She is.
Ahsoka, including even in the Rebels cartoon,
Yeah.
had a little bit more life in her as
Yeah.
well too.
She was
seemed
very
a little bit
just-
more right.
And it's not a
Very-
joke; it's animated.
times,
She was,
yeah.
but that was a big thing too. They dropped the ball on was Ahsoka's story. She went through so much, and they gave us crumbs of that.
Very little.
Like I had no idea. I had to kind of piece it together myself that she was scared because she was Anakin's apprentice. You know what I mean? I didn't.
Yeah.
I had to be told like, oh yeah, she was scared of what she would have become. I didn't know that at all because that was not portrayed. That was not shown.
Which
and like her story to me and her baggage and any of her PTSD was way more interesting than what they told us in this season.
exactly, and like it was great how they wanted to get there.
Yes.
But they skipped B. It was
Yes.
A to C.
Yes.
Thankfully for the
Yeah,
Anakin episode
exactly.
to kind of give us some B to kind
Yeah.
of get there.
That's where
that
I-
was a cool way
That's
to
where
get
I kind
that.
of felt like when she sees Anakin and they
Yeah.
had those scenes. There is a one
She-
scene where she's like, where she brings up, what
she
he
worked
becomes,
through all that. Yep.
and like
but we've
you can-
never seen her deal with it.
right,
We've
and that was
never
like
seen her deal
that
with
was like
any
the
of
one
that.
moment where she really acknowledged it, and where he
Yeah.
was like, he goes, "Is this really what this is about right now?" And I was just like, okay, so I understand
Yeah,
some of her
that
concerns.
episode.
It was the episode was great.
Episode
It
5 was dope, and I don't even
it-
know the context of everything that you guys know.
But that was very vague. Like, and current Star Wars has this issue where they change really good like iconic characters off screen. Like they did it, like whether you like what happened to Luke or not, he's an iconic character, and they fundamentally changed him off screen. So we have to put this headcanon together on why he's like that. And for him, for like half of us, that didn't work because he is such an iconic character, and that's not what we want to see at all. We want to see season 2 Luke and Mando, you know what I mean? And then you build to that, and then when that actually does happen, it makes sense. But I mean, for that, that's a whole different thing. But for Ahsoka, it's the same thing. We know she's Anakin's apprentice, but even for us that saw the cartoons, that is never dealt with. That's never, when she first finds out that he's Vader, we see that for a little bit, but we never see anything her dealing with that. And then they just pick up with that. Like there.
Yeah, because it's
And
funny
it's
when you
just
say
weird.
that
Like,
because that's a
lot
good
of
point. Yeah,
stuff.
because you're right. Because when she reemerges in Rebels, it's almost like it didn't happen to a
didn't
degree.
happen, yes.
Like all she basically says is like, you can't. When he tries to save Kanan, she's like, "Don't do that. That's going to change." You know what I mean? Like that. But she doesn't like. She doesn't. She's just fresh out of the situation.
Yep.
She doesn't accept it. But you're right. That's kind of odd, and that sucks because I know in the heart of hearts of Filoni, he's trying to do the best he can to tell a good live action story about the character and show that growth, which from a character who's grown since 2008 so far.
Right.
But like she deserved a little bit better than that. And
Right.
maybe instead of using the plot devices fucking CW Sabine, we could have done something a
Yeah.
little bit different. The show is called Ahsoka and it is the Rebel cast, but like they were so much like satellites, and again we focus so much on Sabine CW bullshit that that's really the best storytelling we could have. That time should have been used with Balin, and that time should have been used with Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Cherry says, but do you think they do that because filming it and acknowledging there would be too much pressure from the fans? I mean, you go back again to the fans. I mean,
I don't think so because Filoni is usually good at stuff like that, but for whatever reason they skipped it. It's like the whole thing with Luke and Ahsoka meeting. That should be a big deal. But he even says, yeah, I know, I have an idea on how they meet, but I don't know how to execute it. So, and that can't be, you're either a good writer or you're not. So if you're a good writer, you'll make that work.
I'm friends of the family.
But
That's what she said.
well, that's cool.
Mando showed up. Said that to us.
Oh yeah.
She said,
Yeah,
I'm friends
I'm
with the family.
Yeah, but yeah, it's it's like those are key moments. Like you can't take that out because you're scared to write it. That's a key moment. So you're either gonna put up or shut up. I guess you know what I mean.
mm-hmm.
The soundtrack was awesome. Like
Oh, yeah, really good.
The Obi-Wan soundtrack was so horrible, and part of Star Wars, the life of Star Wars, part of it is the soundtrack. No one's touching John Williams. That's just a thing. But Kevin Kiner has done stuff for Clone Wars, Rebels, Tales of the Jedi, and they have it's a few people, but like he's killed it. And some of the themes in this, like it wasn't John Williams, but it didn't need to be because it still felt like Star Wars.
It felt more like that Kurosawa stuff you were talking about. Like it had more of like a Japanese vibe to it.
Very, very like just like that
A
episode.
lot of the visuals, a lot of the music, a lot of the even the fights, the setups, the lead up to the battles. I mean, it was just like very Japanese
whole battle. With Mando and
Fortuna.
I know. And Michael Biehn, and then the fight with Ahsoka and Morgan Elsbeth that first time felt very Kurosawa. Like and many times in this, and that was the whole point. They've always leaned into kind of that Bushido feel with it, which I do like about that as well too. Sherry does say, do you think that if they would have executed it and it would have been poorly, that it probably pissed fans off more? Surely that could have been. You got to be really careful, especially with our fandom. But because she says like the Rings of Power.
We're not talking about that.
But that is a good point. But that is a good point.
Rings of Power. I'm not even gonna get into that. But
no, we won't.
Focus, Danielson.
Yeah, I'm trying. Khan was the new galaxy. It could have been a new planet.
Oh, new galaxy.
You did nothing to make that seem like anything
one
different.
Location and then going back.
And it looked like a snowy day, a shitty rainy day in Colorado. It didn't look like it
looked like they were outside of Rohan.
Yeah, and honestly, it's just a nitpick, but it's like, guys, you don't need to do New Galaxy. You can do the Outer Rim with planets that we've never seen before, and that would make just as much sense. A new galaxy, you think it would be something totally. You have an opportunity to be like something totally different.
Yeah,
like
the one time you can actually create something new.
Yeah, like that. You ever see The Arrival?
Yeah,
those aliens. Yeah, they're like so weird and different, but it's like. Okay, it's like something like it's beyond our imagination.
Always great.
If it's a new galaxy, you got to go a little bit harder than that.
Yeah,
honestly, it could have been just another planet.
Well, I mean, the galaxy. We talked about this before here too. Like the reason that they should continue with the galaxy is guess what? We've seen maybe 50 planets in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
Like there's plenty of space out there. You go to certain outer rim areas, they don't know what's going on in Coruscant and don't care. Or like somewhere out like Exegol or what's that space out there, the unknown regions.
The unknown regions,
So why was it a different galaxy? And I'm wondering if that, again, is by design, because remember, you're starting to see these rumors about, the statues at the end that you may not probably don't know.
I don't know what those are.
The Mortis statues, there's an Easter egg about what they talk about their planet they come from.
What was the significance of those statues?
The statue is of the father, the son, and the daughter. The Owl Morai is got pretty much the essence that Ahsoka has of the daughter, which is the light side of the Force.
It's some deep Force.
It's some really weird, like
wild stuff.
Right, where the Force originates, where it comes from, and he's standing on the statue of the father, who is like the balance between the dark and the light. The son is the dark side. So they're wondering if Balin's being pulled to what is they've never talked about is the mother, because there's that light and beacon. In the Clone Wars episode, they talk about their origins in a planet that they had to leave from because that's where they started from. There's all this crazy wild theory that a lot of people starting to kind of think it could be where Filoni's going with this, but they got to execute it right. Otherwise, it's going to lose people on it.
A lot of people.
It could. And that's where they're going to. It's a whole other wild bullshit.
Was destined to be the father. That's why people are like, oh, he is the father, because during that episode, he could control both the light and dark side.
Well, and he's been on both sides now.
Yeah, and he is the balance.
He is the true balance.
But that's nor here nor there.
That's a whole other topic.
The saber fights I thought were pretty good. One of the reasons I love Empire Strikes Back, it's not because it's like the prequels have like the flips and the cool stuff. To me, this is pro wrestling. You have a match that's filled with spots, right? It's still fun to watch. It's cool. But then you have a match that like is Hogan Rock, that they're not doing much, but there's so much drama and story behind it.
Moments.
That was with, especially episode 4, that fight with Balin and Ahsoka, because you didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know if she was going to kill, because you sure as fuck didn't think Ahsoka was going to lose.
Right.
And then all that stuff happened. And then Sabine, like the fights with Sabine and Shin were sweet. Even the fight with, what's the smoke dude? What's his name? The guy everyone thought was Stark. Merrick. That fight was sweet with Ahsoka.
Oh, yeah.
But now at the same time, and then the fight with Inosanto, if you guys don't know, Diana Inosanto was Bruce Lee's goddaughter. Her father was one of Bruce Lee's top students. So that's why she's fucking sweet.
Yep, she is the daughter of Dan Inosanto, the first student of GKD under Bruce Lee.
But now, and my negative, or my con, was bad choreography, as in episode 8. Sabine we'll go from the jump.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Their ship is going so slow, and the TIE fighters can't hit it. Now, we can joke all day long
Like that
that
bad shots.
that's my point. That can't be an excuse anymore because Andor, with good writing, made the Empire scary as shit.
Yes.
So are we going to continue to make them a joke? Or because if that's the case, because episode 8 had no stakes and it had no sense of danger. It had no sense of danger because they can't hit a ship that's not moving. They are, rain fire on them. No one's getting hit. And it's supposed to be a Star Destroyer ship. So I know this is a nerd thing, but the lasers should be not taking out small things. It should be taking out massive because that's how they glassed Mandalore, right? So it's things like that. And then when they're standing in front of all those stormtroopers, no cover, no nothing, and they're just off flicking. I mean, that
was super lazy.
It's lazy, and there's no sense of danger, and it takes me out of the moment. So I don't believe any of them are going to get hurt. When Sabine comes out at the end to help Ahsoka, and she's fighting all those stormtroopers, and she's moving so fucking slow.
Yes,
it's just like that's bad. Like, I'm a nitpick, so that's a nitpick. But for me, I see these things. When I watch my own wrestling matches, I'm like, why the fuck did I do that? And you may not even see it, but I did. And when I watch other people's wrestling matches, because to me, the little things make the bigger things more special.
Yes.
My bad, I keep hitting you.
No, you're
but
good.
like when you have stuff like that, those fights aren't special. But if you compare that to the Balin fight, that was special. It had weight, it had gravitas, it had stakes.
Yes.
Episode 8, I was never thought any of them were in danger at any time because of the way they put those fights together.
I don't know if it's on your list, but the problem that Sabine was getting written into was part of the reason we had problems with Rey was that, like, we understand that it's harder for some, like, it makes sense that Sabine was struggling with the Force because some people just don't have that kind of easy access to it, and that's fine. You have to grow into it. You have to learn into it. You know what I mean? You know, the lightsaber thing, I was okay with that because she was really trying. It reminded me of Empire, right?
Right.
But her all of a sudden being like, "Oh, I can do this, no problem. That's what you want to jump over there.
Yeah.
Here's Mickey Mouse." You know, just toss him over.
Dude, when that happened, I was just
that was a little too on the nose.
Yeah.
Like, she hasn't deserved or earned that quite yet. No character would have.
That is on there. The Force isn't special. I liked Sabine when she was a badass Mandalore. There's no reason to give her the Force.
Yep.
And then here's my thing. Whoever your favorite basketball player is, didn't pick up a basketball and hit a jumper and then go straight to the league, right? And you relate to someone because of how and again, I go back to the sequels. Rey's not relatable because she was just good at everything she did right off the bat. Luke, he progressed. He couldn't lift rocks. He couldn't do this. He could barely.
You saw the struggle, the growth.
He was very naive. He got his hand cut off, and then it wasn't until the last episode, the last movie, where he's like, oh, he's finally starting finding his groove. It's because he progressed. When you go from A to Z like Sabine did, it's not relatable. And now if you give her the Force, no one's special if everybody's special.
Right.
Does that make sense? There used to be an old superhero show called Heroes.
Oh God!
And the first 2 seasons were really good because only like 5 or 6 people had force had superpowers, right? But by the end of the show or end of like that season or everyone had powers. So they're not special anymore because everyone has these powers, so they're not special. Then that's the normalcy, so it's not the same. Sabine didn't need to be a Jedi. And also, if you look at it, there shouldn't be this many Jedi in the galaxy, right? Because it takes away from Luke being the last Jedi you will be, but that also takes away, I'm not a fan of the sequels, but it takes away from Luke saying, I'm not the last Jedi, we'll have Rey. But that means, no, you don't have Rey because unless they're dead, you still have Sabine, you still have Ahsoka, you still have Ezra, and maybe Jason, unless they're in the different galaxy at that time. Maybe that happens. But like, it just, once you start doing that, it takes away, it's not special anymore. And then like what Tone said, her going from force pull to super push is just like, it's not
and
relatable.
like, they were hinting, and I always said, I always thought, and I know you're not always, whether or not you ever agreed with me on this, but I always felt in Rebels they were hinting that she may have some innate Force abilities, but at the same time, like, she was also training to use the Darksaber because that was heritage of the Mandalore. That was important. She needed to learn how to use that in combat to be able to lead the Mandalorian people as well, too. But I always felt that was kind of like a silent nod that maybe she has some latent Force abilities. I also, at the same time, didn't necessarily think that they would go this direction with her. Like, again, they use her for quite a plot device for this entire series. Whether or not it was necessary or not, I don't really think necessarily it was, because I agree. You already got Ezra around, who by some people's measures feel that Ezra's actually a pretty strong Jedi. At the same time,
I got that vibe right away from like that episode.
And Luke,
I was like, man,
it was a little on the nose though. Like, instead of taking the lightsaber, look at me.
Yeah.
Like, that was a little much. Like, I get they wanted to showcase.
But then he
it.
gets tossed up against like
he
gets shit.
Yeah, he still could have. It was like when Obi-Wan's gonna fight like Dooku the second time with Anakin. He's like, he's flying over here again too. It's our speciality, and then they're laying under a fucking ramp, like, cool, but
okay.
They just, yeah. It was just that whole thing was piss poor storytelling. So continue. You got some more.
And actually, I only have two more. We covered a lot of them. Another pro was world building. They really tried to, even though they went to the new galaxy and really didn't do much, they tried to do a lot of world building with the expanding on what happened after the original trilogy, showing you how the New Republic, and of course, that's going to be my con with them, but and going to new galaxies, going to new planets and stuff like that, and really trying to build upon the world of Star Wars, and not just going back to Coruscant, not going back to Tatooine. They were trying to do new things, which I thought was cool. And then you get to see was it Low? What is it? Lore? What's that planet? It begins with L.
Lothal.
Lothal. Yeah, you got to see Lothal live action, which is really cool. In the same sense, the con would be for the New Republic. They make them dumb.
They just make
them stupid.
And they're supposed to be dumb for 30, 40 years because that's what is their downfall against the New Order.
That's the thing. It's like you can make.
Whoa.
Why would we root for them? Why would we care if they die? Because they're stupid. They're writing them to be stupid. And it's like you can write them to have like inner conflict, like they try to do.
Right.
But it's just you're writing them, the way they come across is that they're just dumb. What do you mean? There's no evidence of that. I don't believe you. Yet there's all tons of evidence. There's witnesses.
Yeah. A general of the war that ushered in the rebellion fighting outside of Lothal.
I get it. You got to have a conflict on the same side. That's fine. But again, like you said, don't make it so obvious that like they're oblivious.
There's
just some jackhole.
Yeah, it's just like so. And I bet you any money the next season or whenever they continue it, it's going to be, Ezra's back. And he says Thrawn's back too. I don't believe him. It's going to be a lot of stupid stuff like that. And it's just like, how are you supposed to get behind them or care when they get destroyed? You're rooting for them to get destroyed because they're so dumb. You got to have a really good villain to prop up a pretty good guy. And then that's not like Thanos. Thanos was a really great villain. So you're like, fuck, he could really fuck somebody
up. I feel
up.
like the Madam Chancellor, what's the Chancellor?
Mothma?
I feel like she does like a decent job trying to be the smart side of it. It's just all the senators around her are
I don't know why
stupid.
they continue to add more people, like as if she needs like I get the committee, I get what they're trying to do with the New Republic, but like her alone as an actress, and she's been with us since episode 3.
Right.
Like she needs to, like, especially in Andor, she's like making hard work and acting really good. And then in the New Republic, you get just a taste of it. It's like, we don't need all this other bullshit going on. They're just adding more. It's more CW drama.
It is. And then I thought it was silly. I like to see C-3PO, but that's how you stop the trial. And it was just like, come on.
You gotta get somebody. You gotta get a legacy in there.
I marked.
I did too.
You gotta get a legacy in there. You gotta get a legacy guy in there.
But it's just the way they stopped it. And they're like, okay, trial's over with. I was like, no, that's not how that works.
You get him, you get a Leia drop, you get everything you need, man.
Right.
Yeah. And
Tabaka Bush.
A pro that we already covered is that it felt like Star Wars. We talked about it didn't stick the landing. We talked about it. The Force isn't special. Rushed moments.
I wonder by design, though, to go with rushed moments and what you said about not sticking the landing in that finale. I still wonder, is this, because Filoni kind of does this, is this by design to kind of like say, we know we're going somewhere, we're doing another movie, we're doing somewhere.
My rushed moment for that, it's not that. It goes with like Ezra.
No, Dita, I hated that too.
Ezra and Hera, that should have been way longer.
Oh, I see what
we
you're saying.
didn't
That
even-
moment.
We
not
didn't
the-
even see
okay.
them hug.
That was
That
super brief.
as
Yeah. You could
soon-
tell there was something there.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
and
No open mouth kissing.
Mary Elizabeth Winston's her facial reaction told the story.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, I can feel how she feels just by she didn't even have to say anything.
Right.
And as soon as it started to get good and swell up, they cut. And I was like,
Yeah,
And
what
see,
the
coming
fuck?
from somebody
What?
who doesn't have the context that you guys have, I
She
was
was
just
basically
like,
a mother to him.
I was
Yes.
just like, I was like, man, I really would have liked to have known what that moment was.
At
But-
least
and-
Chop went up there.
and he didn't meet Jason.
He could tell.
Like we,
Yeah,
like,
where the fuck was Jason?
So here's the thing: when they come out with whatever happens next, are they going to gloss over that? And that again goes to that's my
'Cause
thing.
Jason has that ability to.
Yeah, but that's also his master's who's his master who died. That's his kid, and he never met him.
Oh,
Ezra didn't know that
No.
she was pregnant.
And that goes back to what I said originally. These are moments that we need to see, but I'm willing to bet it's going to be off screen, like Ahsoka mating Luke. This should
Mating?
happen.
Oh, meeting.
Yeah, mating Luke Soka. But like these are
Luke Soka.
things. These are things that we should see because it's huge, important to the story. But instead,
You get that emotional
you
draw.
get like yes.
Instead, we're getting into the drama emotion shit with
Yes.
Sabine and not the feeling
Yes.
that we
It's
need.
one thing to get a nod, but it's another one you don't get anything. Like you
Yeah,
just think,
I
there's
mean, like-
something there, but
yeah, like
it's
I
not
said,
important.
Chop went up and knew right away, and you notice Ezra touched him just the way he always did in
Yes,
the fucking
yeah.
Rebels, which was great. Chop knew who that was because droids
'cause
got
he has,
scanners.
He has the Force, so
Oh,
I thought
everybody's
that
got
was
the-
dumb. I thought it was dumb
everybody's
that
got the
he walked
Force.
out of the ship with the stormtrooper helmet on. I get it because you did
Yeah,
it
I
for
mean,
like
why would you have
reveal,
that shit off? You're
but
like, I don't wanna
come
get
on,
killed.
man. Yeah, but I thought that
talk
was
talk about. So what's the actor's name?
Amon.
I forget. I
Amon
forget his-
Desante?
Yeah,
No, it's not it. He's really cool, though.
And he's like apparently he's like a super fan of being this character. He posts on Instagram.
I thought he was great. I
constantly.
thought he was really
Let's
good.
we'll go into him. He was one of the positives.
He was
awesome.
He knocked it out of the park. He
Energy,
even fucking
energy,
looked
Confidence.
felt.
He was confident.
He
He
was-
was charming, charisma. He had everything that you need from a character to build around.
And I
probably
wanted
the best
more of him.
casting outside of Thrawn.
Yes, and Balin.
Balin.
But I wanted to see more of him, and I'm worried that we won't. I'm worried they're still going to push Sabine down her throat, and I don't want to see her. I want to see Ezra. Is what I want to see. I want to see Ezra and Ahsoka.
That's why I'm just kind of curious. Like, where do you
don't.
think this is going? Because, like, okay, if you
But
look at what
let's get back to that. Let's
if you
hold
look
that.
at what's set up right now at the end of this season, if you're doing a season 2, you're spending most of that season trying to find a way
Me
to
too.
get Ahsoka and Sabine back home.
Okay, let's hold on. Let's do this real quick. My other thing, we're gonna end it on a positive, but my last con that I can remember, I didn't write it down, was the zombies. Zombies were cool. They did nothing.
Well, they're a part of the whole fucking goofy ass like.
But like you introduced this new element to Star Wars, and you did nothing with it. Like the night troopers, right?
Yep.
You introduced them, but they're just stormtroopers with a different paint color.
Yeah.
And so
maybe
it's like
a little bit more fierce.
I didn't
Barely.
I
Barely. I mean,
yeah.
I hint.
And that's my thing. Is like you introduced something really cool. Like when they introduced the Death Troopers, they were badass. Like in Rogue One.
Yep.
But when you introduce these guys in this show and the zombies,
I mean, they look cool when they first out.
right?
But
like, and then there was nothing.
I mean, the power, like using the magic that the sisters do, that's not unseen. We've seen that in the cartoons.
Right.
And again, with people without
I
context.
thought that was cool. I liked the night. I thought the
Don't,
sisters
they
were
just
so
don't, they
cool.
don't get to any of that stuff. When you're playing the video games, matter of fact, when you're on Dathomir, the Zabraks that are attacking you are probably undead. They're attacking.
Yeah, 'cause they got the green
green
eyes,
eyes.
yeah.
Well, too,
But I mean,
so-
they were essentially they were zombies, but they were still stupid, shitty
Dead
shot.
boring. Yeah, they
right.
were.
I mean, that's
Right.
all they were was shitty shot stormtroopers, but they were zombies.
Yes.
Cool. They have
Yes.
green eyes,
But they
But
didn't
you don't really
do
expand
nothing.
upon it, yeah,
Right.
to
They
make them
didn't-
interesting.
because that entire fucking episode was rushed.
Yeah.
My positive, my pro, and it's the best thing. It was so fucking cool. Was Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Man, I'm gonna say this. They all need to take notes because that motherfucker was ice cold in them lightsaber fights.
Yeah.
Rosario Dawson was slow. The girl that played Sabine was slow. Obviously, Innocenta was a martial artist, so she was sweet. But Hayden Christensen,
You can tell he's done it
like
before.
he was like episode 3 all over
Yeah, yeah.
again. That motherfucker was moving. The fact that he had good stuff to work with, he still looks. I know they de-aged him a little bit, but if you've seen the behind the scenes stuff,
Yeah.
he still looks young as fuck.
Yeah, he does. He hasn't aged all that well, all that
He
much.
was awesome. I didn't think we needed the Force Anakin at the end. I thought that was kind of like shoehorned in there, but I didn't. I mean, I'll take it because I love him.
Yeah.
But like, man, that episode
So
was awesome. Chef's kiss, man.
To go with the chef kissing, because that episode is incredible. That was a full-on raging boner. My boner had a boner watching that episode, and
Man,
it was because
it was awesome.
we all. What did I say from the beginning of this series? The one thing I always wanted to see, if we were going to get Hayden in it, all I wanted to hear was him in live action to call her Snips,
Yep.
and we heard it right away.
Yeah.
And he called her it again, but in that episode, we got to see him in his Clone Wars armor and fucking live action.
It's cool.
Which was we had.
See,
the,
that's
the
some
Paul-
like context that I didn't have.
He had
Like,
the-
he's
he had-
walking around, I'm like, cool.
But
I
then
knew
the
there were other
flashes
little
had the
things.
Paul-
of him
Pauldron-
as Vader were sweet.
Dude,
What's that?
that,
When
that,
he would- when
that
it would flash.
cinematography.
I,
when he's
dude,
walking
honestly,
away.
man, I can't tell you how much I love that scene when Ahsoka brings up like what he becomes,
Right.
and he gets upset. He goes, "Is that what this is
The
really
wrong
about?"
person.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
he gets
it was
those red eyes. I
incredible.
was like, I thought that part, like even like then I was just like, that's
that
fucking
was
sweet.
that
man.
was
Yeah.
unbelievable storytelling. And like again, while we were
That
missing the
conviction.
context of the PTSD and the baggage that she was carrying, the way that they handled that in storytelling
Yeah.
with going through that experience with Anakin to bring her through that, for her to realize,
Yeah.
stop blaming yourself because
Right.
it's holding you back, was told so amazingly well. And man, when we even got live action Rex for a brief
For a
second
hot
as well
second
too,
there,
for a
yeah.
hot second too. But when they're battling, and he takes that wide stance and goes into what is it, Type 4? I think is when he uses that. That's the Type 4. I think when
That
he,
I don't know. You know more about that.
yeah,
than
I think
do.
it's Type 4 is when he goes into that, because that's typically Anakin stance. Because Luke uses it when he's in Jedi. He uses the wider, like, because
Yeah.
he's double gripping and he's just bashing on
Well,
lightsabers.
if you
as well.
notice too, he was doing like the spin maneuver. He tried to get her with the
Which
same
apparently
thing he
was a
cut off.
Hayden thing that come up with from what
That's
Ewan
so
said too.
awesome. When
Yeah,
he
he
tried
gets
to
to
do the
the
thing,
fucking.
He tried to do the thing where he cut off her hands like he did Dooku, but like, she did it
was
to
too-
him and took his saber.
She was too smart for him
Yeah,
because he
and
probably trained her that
He
route.
did, you know he did. But
Right.
then it was cool too because then she was, you could. It seemed like, I mean, I guess in my head canon, like she didn't look at his tapes, his holocrons before, and then she started to, and then she goes, he was a good master.
Yeah,
So I think she came to terms with like
she
he
was looking at him
the
in
man
Rebels though
she
too.
knew was really good.
She did look at him in Rebels.
Oh, did she? I
Yeah,
don't-
yeah.
Oh yeah, she did.
She
Oh,
did
my
look at him
bad,
in Rebels.
Mike.
So,
Very good.
so she was clearly always looking at him. And did you
Later, pancakes.
little other Easter egg as well too? Did you know that if you watch closely in Episode 3 battle when he's fighting Obi-Wan, he tries to do the same shit
Yes,
that he
and
did
Obi-Wan,
to do, and
yeah.
Obi-Wan's prepared for it. So
Yeah,
both Ahsoka
yeah.
and Ewan McGregor or well, Obi-Wan are too smart for it, unlike Dooku, who gets his hands ripped off basically. So that's a little extra
All right.
nerd for you.
I
So
want to
where's
bring it
it
back.
going?
Yeah,
I
where's
want to
it
bring it
going?
back. I want to get back to that discussion though. Like going forward, you know, based on the way the show ended,
No.
and obviously Disney has, like you said, are they more interested in building on the property in a way that'll appease fans, or are they just looking for the quick buck? The way
I think
that
it
they're
depends
set
on
up,
who's in charge.
exactly, and the way that it's set up. I mean, like obviously, if they were doing a season 2, the focus is going to be getting Sabine and Ahsoka back home, and exploring whatever Balin's going on and Shin as well. But is Disney going to look at this and be like, okay, look, they got to look at the numbers, they got to look at how well it did, considering how much it costs, or do you think they're just going to be like, okay, look, we've established that Thrawn's back home, we'll rush in the Ahsoka, bring her back in the movie, you know, go right to the movie, have her come back some weird way.
I don't think they can go right to the movie because you have story elements that wouldn't fit in the movie.
But is that something that they can just, you know, make you think about, like you talked about, like, you know,
I hope they wouldn't do that. I never know with Lucasfilm Disney because their track record's so weird when
Right.
it comes to doing stuff like this. You do have Skeleton Crew, which is supposed to be a part of this Mandoverse. So I could see them going to this, finding this galaxy somehow, and then bringing Ahsoka back, which would be just by chance type stuff, which I hope doesn't happen. Or maybe
Right.
they send out a beacon. I don't know. Or they did kind of lay groundwork for Grogu because he noticed the Purgle when they were in hyperspace.
that's right.
So maybe
that's right.
he can communicate with them and find them
Who
or something
knows?
like that. Because he knows Ahsoka, so he might be able to be like, oh,
Yeah.
let's go find
I have a
Ahsoka.
question.
They could use World Between Worlds.
Yeah.
Can someone explain to me how a Purgle can do
He's
Yeah,
caught up. He's
hyper-
caught up on the hyperspace whale. Bad.
when the whale go? I was
Oh.
just like, where? I look, man, I can suspend disbelief, but I was
Right.
just like,
No.
how did a fucking whale to hyperspace?
Honestly, I think it's just a thing the creature can do.
I think it's just. Well, they say that it's got partly to do with the Force as well too. So if you think,
yes.
Okay.
So if you
Okay.
think,
Okay.
so,
Okay.
so if you think of hyperspace in fantasy terms, in fantasy terms of science, right? When we talk about in real life science, when you want to try and like in Event Horizon, get to one place to another, and you fold time, basically time and space,
Sure.
black hole, wormhole, right? Whatever. I think with the Purgle, it's got something to do with more of the actual Force and being able to tap into like the light, almost like a life stream, basically.
Sure.
I wonder.
That was the only thing that I was watching.
It's
that whole
fair.
I was just like, oh, that's.
And
It feels like a stretch, but I'll take it.
Right.
Honestly,
It's
when I
definitely-
first saw it
definitely.
in the animation, I was like,
Yeah. I have a thing for tentacles and like whales and
Force
squids,
one
so whatever. But
I do
it's
think
definitely something different.
I do think it's cool. Obviously, if they're smart, they will, because everyone's like, this has to lead to the sequels. It has to lead to the sequels.
No, don't.
It doesn't, because it takes place 30 years,
It's gonna.
30 to 20 years. You can honestly have this be its own contained story.
Yes.
And then at the end, you can have a bookend of, oh, this is the First Order forming, and then leave it at that.
Yep.
And
nods.
then you have Ahsoka. Whoever survives this, they go to that other galaxy, and that's where they stay. So that way they're not, because you got to make it make sense. That way they're not around when the sequels do happen, because that doesn't make sense unless you kill them all. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So,
I definitely. I think the galaxy has been set up for a reason. I mean, if it's to go to Peridia to find the original planet that the Mortis and all the the father, son, and daughter came from, it's got to be a worthwhile story to tell that, to be able to get there and that whatever. I do like the thought process that the whales migrate there, and that's basically their boneyard, where they go to die. That's kind of neat, like to see a ring around a planet, but just bones.
I did love how the whales
I thought that
fucking
was neat.
pieced out when
Some
they
great.
went to the minefield. They're like, oh, we're out of here.
yeah, they're like, man, we didn't sign up for this shit. What are you doing, lady?
Well, I was getting mad as somebody who's like an animal super fan,
Yeah.
like as a fur baby lover. I'm like,
But I just
why
love
are
that
they
part.
attacking these poor
I
fucking
just like
whales?
that part when Huang's like, hey, at least the whales are giving us some cover. And
Yeah.
they were like, oh, we're out of here. We heard you.
Deuces.
We're out.
But again, I don't know. It's hard to tell if they know. I'm hoping with Filoni in charge, he's got at least a roadblock map or something here, something to work with. He's got.
I hope it's more of a roadmap
But-
than a mental block.
I meant to say roadmap, but the problem is that Disney's got to. I mean, they gave him the keys for this, and it proved. I think as a fan, for me, I was mostly pretty happy about it.
I was
Did
too.
he directed 5, didn't he?
He did 5.
I think he did 2 of them. I
He
know
One
5.
and- 1 and 5,
He
right?
did 1 and 5.
One
I
and
think.
5?
Yeah,
Okay.
1 and then.
Yeah,
he
and you
did
can
1
tell.
and 5.
You could certainly tell.
Yeah, he's
actually,
still learning. So
the fight in the red trees was actually pretty cool too. But anyways, with her and Balaam. But certainly, it's hard to tell where it's going, and that sucks. But it's also, it's harder because it's hard to be excited anymore about Star Wars because you feel like you're going to be let down a lot more frequently than you're not. This was a pleasant surprise.
Yep.
Mandalorian mostly has been. Boba Fett let us down. Andor was a really, really great storytelling, like Rogue One feel. Like I love that kind of thing. I wish
Andor,
that
it stands on its own.
Yeah, and I wish Solo got the love still that it deserves. It's not a perfect movie, but Ron Howard did what he could and redone a lot of stuff. I actually really enjoy Solo. I want to see more of Childish Gambino as Lando and things of that nature. But
I'm weird on that.
I really liked it.
Yeah, I don't.
I
I like Solo, but I don't know if I care enough to see something. With him.
If it's
I don't know.
Donald Glover
You
doing
weren't
it,
too
I
big
would
on him as Lando?
I did. I liked it, but I don't care about if they do a show or movie with him.
Oh, I see what you're
Yeah.
saying. With the
And it's-
character or with him?
No, with the character. And it's not that I don't like or dislike it. I'm just indifferent about it. Like, it doesn't do anything for me.
Okay, that's fair.
And I thought it came out of nowhere that they all of a sudden announced it. Like, it was.
Well, I mean, they've been doing that with so many Marvel and Star Wars property. Hey, look at these 7 things that's coming out. So
We do
I
need more Ewok.
because they're worried about money. They're not worried about creating that story.
Yeah,
That's where it
and
comes
that's my biggest. I worry about that too, because if Ahsoka doesn't do the numbers that they want, are they going to instantly be like,
Well,
no?
they haven't given us a green light for sure on season 2, which
Right.
again, I wonder it comes back to design. Was
But
this not planned? Was this more movie?
But I think the feedback is strong enough that it should. I would hope it would get greenlit. You know what I'm saying?
Hard to tell.
It's because I felt like a lot of fans like me who have been on the fence. Like if Ahsoka wasn't good, I was out. I had said that I was like, I can't do Star Wars anymore. It's too disappointing because I love it that much. It's too disappointing. Ahsoka brought me back into having fun conversations, fun speculation instead of judging.
It's the first time in a long time that we as a Star Wars group have been able to be
yes,
excited again.
Yes,
because the last Mandalorian season 2 was still good.
To me,
it was great, and 3 was kind of a letdown. Boba Fett was a letdown. So it was nice for us to constantly talk and show excitement again, and that's been tough. And I don't know. I don't know where it's going. I don't think any of us really know. It's hard to trust, and it's hard to be excited. Like, I want to be excited because I love these characters already. I already love them in live action. I think doing what they did is hard to turn cartoon characters into a live action character, and they did a pretty good job of it because you had the right people as well too. But
Exactly.
Let's remember what happened in season 2 at the end of Mandalorian when they let Grogu go finally, so we can get to the adult side of it. And then Disney freaked out. It was like, oh shit, we're not selling toys anymore.
Not yet.
Let's rewrite this. And Kathleen Kennedy, got her face in the pie again. So I guess we'll see how we survive the remakes of episode 4, 5, and 6. That's also true. But yeah, so. Overall, we clearly enjoyed Ahsoka.
Yes.
As
as somebody who is not familiar with the context of everything behind a lot of the characters, I still thought it was a really good show. But like you, I felt episode 8 was kind of like. Damn, it was close. It was close.
We needed more. And they need to stop with these fucking 36, 43-minute episodes.
Yeah.
Or
just
make the fucking
stretch it out to 10 episodes.
Or
That's
whatever it is.
true.
Anything.
Yeah.
Figure it out. But give us more. Like, you got to stop with this up and down bullshit. They do it with all their content, and it's fucking annoying. Yeah. Because then we're not getting enough content.
And the reason is because, man, I mean, obviously, look, it's streaming services stuff, and you can only put. I mean, obviously, from my what I've been reading, the budget on this was astronomical.
And it should have been.
It was a lot, but I mean, at the same time, they if it's going to be a high budget stuff, they can't run at 10 episodes because then they have to go to Disney Plus and be like, hey, we got to raise the prices on this thing again.
The volume,
and then eventually you start losing people.
I think filming it in the volume hurts though too. I know they're still trying to figure things out, but some of the fights were hindered because there's nowhere to move.
Yeah.
And they rely, like Andor was doing set locations.
Mm-hmm.
You need to go back
and it
to
felt
that.
open.
Yes,
that's the problem with that goddamn screen.
It doesn't feel lived in.
It doesn't.
Obi-Wan looks so cheap.
You can fucking tell that it's
Obi-Wan
fucking digital.
And
they've been jerking that off since episode 2, Attack of the Clones came out fully digital.
Yeah.
They
need to stop that. You need to start traveling places and maybe use some of the volume, but a lot of stuff you got to go to set piece. You got to do like travel and do set pieces.
We need some practical effects more frequently. So
and
it's just gonna stop.
I will say the special effects in Ahsoka, like some of the vehicles, the ships.
You can tell they had some budget at least.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah,
They didn't go cheap for sure.
I love the
definitely lifeless. Looked a lot of lifeless.
Yeah, it does. It does look lifeless, and it's but this one was better. I hope Star Wars can get back on top, and I think you need to let Filoni be in charge of creative because I think he gives a shit about Star Wars and he knows how Star Wars works. And I need to I'm not excited for The Acolyte because I'm not excited for it because of instead of promoting the story, they've just promoted their politics. Mm-hmm. And I hate that. I don't care what politics you are. That's not why I'm watching this to escape. It should be in a galaxy. I should be finding out what happens in a galaxy far, far away, not what's hot on Twitter yesterday.
Right.
And that's what I feel. So, and they're hyping this up like, The Acolyte. And that's what I'm worried too because they got a lot of good faith back with fans like me. But I think once that releases, if it is how I worried it's going to be, you're going to lose all that good faith.
Yeah.
So, which is really going to suck. But hopefully I'm wrong and hopefully they put that out, before and don't let them talk about it. Honestly, just talk about the story, talk about the characters. Don't talk about
give us a good product,
the patriarchy and all this other shit.
What is the next Star Wars property?
Supposed to be The Acolyte, or supposed to be Skeleton Crew, but you haven't heard shit about that. So I think it's going to be The Acolyte. And The Acolyte, I thought was supposed to be the end of the year,
but with the strikes, probably everything's probably pushed back.
Or no, The Acolyte was supposed to be early next year. So who knows?
I think I was reading somewhere that, like, realistically speaking, with the strike and everything going on, like, I think they said you can expect season 2 of Ahsoka no sooner than 2025. So they're thinking it's probably a ways out due to the strike and obviously trying to figure out where they're going to go with the property.
But Mando season 4 has already been taught. They don't know what they're doing with that because
it's written, but they haven't done anything.
Well, they said that might be a movie now.
Oh, really?
That's what I'm saying. They don't know what they're doing. Geez. I will say this. I think the next thing that's going to come out will be Tales of the Jedi Season 2. And I'm hoping the Tales of the Jedi Season 2 will be about Balin.
God, I hope so, man, because I want more of that. I want more of whatever was going on with him and whatever his plan was, because he said that to Shin, and she was like, look, your path is this way. My path is going somewhere else.
But I think if it's about Balin, we'll see. Because have you watched Tales of the Jedi?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think it'll be about his past and how he meets Shin.
At least give me something.
I'm for that.
Because even if it's his past, I'll understand his motivation going forward.
Motivations. There you go.
And I do think
there you go.
They should not, whoever else is in Tales of the Jedi, it should not be about Ahsoka. Put her on, let her cool off.
Damn right, Dita.
They keep using Ahsoka too much, I think.
Right.
And it's like any good babyface that gets hot, they start to shove that wrestler down your throat, and then you're just tired of
That's
them.
what they did with Grogu.
And I think they're going to do the same thing.
Worried I hope they don't do that with Ahsoka, but I've seen the fucking toys out there. They're fucking doing it. Trust me.
Yeah.
Goddamn toys.
Fucking doing it.
Yeah.
So, but
it's like you gotta bring her back a little bit.
Yeah. Oh my God, you gonna be all right?
He's an old man, dude. He's gotta get in bed. Plus, his chair is super comfy. That's why he's falling asleep.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. I know we run a little bit extra. Everybody appreciate everybody hanging on. A lot to talk about. We knew this was probably going to be kind of one of these shows where it's just a couple of topics that were deep. We had to really claw in there.
This is probably one of our best conversations. I didn't go on a rant. That was pretty sweet.
True. Well, I mean, it was a Star Wars product that you overly enjoyed, and I will always say this is the big piece I think to take away that you always should remember in my humble opinion. You are perfectly fine to criticize and critique the things that you like and love because everything has the ability to be better because it's not perfect.
Correct.
So that said, I will always listen to people that are able to do that with the things they love. If you can't, then I don't want to hear about the things that you hate.
Ooh, and that's I know we're gonna wrap it up, but that goes to the fandom. I'm really not a fan of the Star Wars fandom right now. We are in the middle of it. We can say this is good, this is bad, and don't label each other. Mm-hmm. You have these people, especially a lot of I used to watch these YouTube channels, but I was like, oh, we'll see how they act when Ahsoka comes out. And they're just grifting. They hate it. And it's like, there's nothing to hate about it. Mm-hmm. You can dislike some things, but in all honesty, it's pretty good Star Wars.
It's not perfect, but
they're like, this is the worst show. I'm like,
oh,
okay,
no,
you guys are just spinning an agenda. But in that same sense, over here on the right side, you have these people, I didn't like when Sabine did this. Oh my God, look at you, you're this. And they start to label you, and you can't have critiques. And people, they refuse, they don't have any, they don't know, they can't acknowledge perspective.
Right.
They can't have a civil conversation. They can't look up things objectively. If you didn't like it, then you're some type of this, that, or the other. And that stuff is I see it on Twitter every day, and it's like, I hate it. And I almost want to mute Star Wars because I see these fans, and that goes back to our toxic fandom.
Yeah.
And it's not just the people that say, oh, whamming this or Rey, Mary Sue that. No, it's the people that say, hey, Rey's overpowered. She wasn't written that well. And then you have these people over here, oh, you're sexist, you're this. It's like, oh, my God, just shut up.
Sometimes it's just about the story.
Yes. And it's like, you're not allowed to have an opinion if you liked it or dislike it. And you have these people on both sides while we're right in the middle having civil conversations. These people ruin it. And they're
and the thing is, those people that are ruining it probably don't have the time invested of the people who are being critical of it, because they've been there from the start of the movies, they've been there through all the books, they've been there through all the shows. They have the context of everything to look and be like, look, this doesn't fit what Star Wars is. Right. But then you got the shallow folks who don't have that context, who haven't seen everything, but they just want to bitch about something and say, oh, you're fucking sexist, you're this, you're that. It's just like, dude.
Disney
overrated.
Since the late 80s.
Final Fantasy 6 sucks.
Disney, unfortunately, and Lucasfilm didn't help that when they attacked fans too that didn't like it, or any product when they start to do that. I was called an idiot once.
Final Fantasy 8. That one's dope, man. That was great.
Was 8? Which one was
He's
8?
exaggerating.
Oh, was that with
Squall?
Yeah,
and,
that opening was
sweet.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and then you played the game. Yeah, and that's very fair, Dita, and I think that's also a good point as well too. And it's unfortunate that it's got to be like that.
Fuck them all, Dita. If you got an opinion on something about something you love, fucking voice your opinion. Fuck the haters.
Yeah, tell them to
suck a butt.
You can always come here and share that opinion. We'll love to hear it.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
Absolutely. So
make sure you get a hold of us, Dita, on social somewhere. Whether it's in our Discord, whether it's on X, Twitter, or whatever, get a hold of us so we can contact you, figure out where you want us to send that stuff. We really, really appreciate you being here.
Twan gets it as well too. Yep, that's it. So, first of all, we're glad to have you here, but I got to do some housekeeping as always. As you guys know, we appreciate you guys being here. It was a big show. We got Rohit back on. Thank you to a lot of you that were able to come out. We haven't seen somebody in a while. It's good to see some of you. If you're new here, thank you for those follows. If you're new, stick around for a little while as well too. We appreciate the subs we saw tonight. We appreciate a lot of the conversation, a lot of good stuff out there. I know it's a lot to get to and try to talk to. A lot of deep conversation and probably boring for some, but we appreciate some of you sticking around as well too. So thank you.
I think
for
anyone
that.
that stuck around, they didn't find it boring. They wanted to be on.
That's true. That's true. But don't forget, as always, keep an eye out. Mondays at 7 p.m., you'll find 7 Dungeons going live. He's spinning yarn, talking about that D&D. He's writing amazing material right now. That crew is deep into some shit right now. Great D&D to watch live on Twitch. And also, of course, once again, HABR, that's going to be Half-Ass Beer Review. You can check out those videos with me and 7 Dungeons Drafts in there doing our most recent beer quests. He puts out videos every week. If you like craft beer and some antics, it's a good spot to get on there too, because you'll sometimes see this attractive bald man on there as well. And of course, don't forget, we've got March rolling to us really fast. We're going to start, I keep saying it, we got some plans here next couple weeks. We're going to really start talking about March because the Middle Mall Comic-Con will return here. Yes. Ghostbuster 40-year anniversary. We got a theme this year. Ooh. It's going to be really, really exciting this year for that Comic-Con. So, keep an eye out for all those deets. If you know somebody in the area that wants to be a vendor or maybe you're traveling, holler at me. I can hook you up with talking to somebody involved in that as well too.
There is no Dana.
Gonna be there's right, and maybe we'll get Rohit out there this year if he can stop booking himself.
If I'm not wrestling,
yeah, exactly.
I'll
Stop booking himself. So, but we appreciate all the likes, follows. We appreciate all the things you do for us on social media. I know we've been hitting it hard the last couple of days because we want to do it big for Rohit as well too, and so we appreciate that you guys were able to do that as well. So thank you so much. Continue to comment, sub. Share us all over. Tell a friend, tell a cousin, tell your auntie if she likes a little Star Wars, because this is where you'll hear Star Wars a lot. So, but we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for the support. We can't thank you enough.
Rohit, always a pleasure, man.
Man, thanks for
being
me.
on.
I love to talk
it.
shop with you guys,
bro.
Yes,
appreciate you.
I'll send you a link to where you can buy this chair so you can have one of your own.
Oh, I can't
and get
wait.
comfy at home.
I'll put it in the bonfire.
Yeah, right next to the fire. You get all comfy on a cold night.
We appreciate all you do.
No, we appreciate him swinging by, hanging out. We appreciate all of you
it.
in the chat, shooting the shit, being a part of the conversation. That's why we love doing this. We'll be live next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about Loki, the first couple episodes, see where that's headed. We're going to talk about Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning. That for part 1 is out now on digital. We'll check that out. I'll talk a little bit more about Assassin's Creed,
Maybe
Mirage.
We'll get some Gen 5 in there as well, too.
Some Gen V. We'll get some Gen V conversation going as well. So we'll have a lot to talk about next week. But we appreciate everyone that turned out tonight. It was an awesome show, awesome guest, awesome chat. We really, really appreciate each and every one of you. Tony, is that it?
Let's do it.
That's it. That we're going to call for the night. So for Mr. Rohit Raju, for Fanboytone and TheDude79, have a great weekend. We'll see you next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Good night, everybody. Oh, and hey, check out Ant House Beats, his Halloween mix. It's available now on all music streaming platforms. Matter of fact, check out some of his music. Good night, everybody.